Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for another Tuesday night. I am here with the lovely, talented, magical, mysterious, masculine man, Matthew Matson. Once again, Tuesday night. How you feeling, buddy?
Good. I'm feeling good. Went to the Texas State Fair today, so I'm hot and tired.
Hook
But
'em horns?
no, don't do
Okay,
that in
well,
my house.
I
Don't do that in
don't
my
know.
house.
I don't know, but look, I'm an Alabama fan. I don't know,
Yeah,
but I'm going off of what I do know, right? Okay,
my
so
my wife picked a great place for lunch where I had a really amazing burger with fried chicken on top of it and bacon on top of that. So I had it
wait,
all right there.
no, stop the presses. And then, this town needs an enema. All right, stop the presses. And maybe some of y'all will get the reference. Prince. Anyway, so what did you have?
I had an amazing burger, and
Okay.
that burger had fried chicken and bacon on top of that.
At our age, Matthew, that is a heart attack waiting to happen.
Nah,
Okay.
man. Not with my ticker. My ticker's good. Uh, you can't go to the state fair and not have something fried. I mean, they fry Coca-Cola here. They fry butter here. I mean, they fry Oreos here. I mean, come on, man.
I love you. That dude, I'm serious, man. Like you are 100% correct. So my it's not even a guilty pleasure. It's just a pleasure. Uh, yes, you're correct. State fair, fried food, fried something, whether that's funnel cake, whether
Mhm.
that's corn dogs, whether that for me is the corn, the big corn,
Yeah.
like, and I double dip, like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have two of them, and get the butter on them, and I walk around with two of them some bitches, and I look like a
It's
girl
good
I
stuff.
dated years ago, and but look, I'm gonna leave that out of here. I couldn't help myself. Sorry, it is
Yeah.
what it is.
Well, and we went for the pig races and the dog stunt show, and the dog stunt show is always our favorite, but it's great.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad that at least you got to go for a day. I know you had mentioned it to me, messaging and whatnot, and so yeah. Look, you got to get away, man. Like you work, you try to play, right? You're busy, man. You do multiple streams, you moderate different streams. You have a lot going on, and yes, 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 yes. Love that guy. He's behind me up here on the shelf. If any of you guys can see my thumb there, he is behind me. Um, Love him. Cobra Trooper is on the way. Got the
Awesome.
email. Waiting on that road pig, man. Like my cuz got road pig. I'm waiting on road pig. I think, and so,
BBTS has them in stock. Some other people do.
yeah,
I found them in the store. So
but I'm gonna tell you, man, like, and I've discussed it before, is that, for me, I'll order them, I'll wait on them, I don't review them, and so I guess it's a situation for me where I am okay. I'm okay. He looks great. I love him. I love the guy back in the day, man. I love the flat top. He reminded me of the, you know, Ivan Drago, that was a popular cut back then in the 80s, especially for bad guys. But
I
I've
always
been
used him as my Arnold Schwarzenegger because I had the M16 with the 203
Commando.
underneath it in his and he was like, yeah, exactly.
Oh
He was always
yeah.
the leader of my Predator patrol.
You know what? Um, I respect that, and obviously, so many things ripped off those covers, right? Ripped off Rambo,
Yep.
Commando, Contra, for instance, right? With that's literally what they took to make the
Yeah.
cover of the NES game. How they didn't get sued, I'll never know. And how they have never paid royalties, I'll never know. But it walked down memory lane. Yeah, man. So I'm glad that like I said, I'm glad that you're able to at least, have some fun, have some family time. It is really important. And I know a lot of us get busy and everything. And some of us maybe that review stuff. Obviously I'm going to go down this chat, and there's some wonderful people who show up to watch us every week that I do love and do enjoy, and I'm glad that you guys do show up and y'all do some great work and great photography and great videos. Um, and um, and so but making time for your family is very important. And I know for a lot of people that get started on this YouTube journey or whatever it is, you get wrapped up in it sometimes and you wanna be involved and you wanna stream 3 times a week and 4 times, and all that, and it's like, man, sometimes it's not always possible. And then sometimes what I ran into this weekend was technical difficulties. For one, the technical difficulties was on Saturday. Friday was a sore throat, thought I was getting sick,
Yeah.
postponed a Friday night stream, and then Saturday, my son played a video game most of the day, and then I checked the Nighthawk, and guess what? Nothing doing. The Nighthawk, for those of you that have routers and stuff like that, just not working. And uh, and so spent some time on that. Said, hey, you know what? We'll go another week. No big deal. It is what it is. I can't control this, and if I can't control it, I can't worry about it, right?
Right. Yep.
That's life, right? And
That
so, but nonetheless, yeah, man. There's some people obviously that are in the chat that I do want to recognize who do some great work, like you do on Instagram, and you've got it right there. So people need to check out your photography. You do theme stuff, day in, day out, man. It's really cool stuff. So please check out Matthew's Instagram, man. He's got some great photography and stuff on all kinds of figures, not just GI Joe, that's for sure. Star Wars, even Star Wars. I know you got some Star Wars stuff, a little bit.
I you know what? I just have not been inspired to shoot any Star Wars stuff in the last year and a half. Um, I
I get it.
I mean, there's one figure I've been waiting on for about 5 years that finally showed up in my pile of loot, but
Ouch.
so yeah, well, he was really hard to find, but they finally reissued him and I got the reissue, I guess.
Okay.
But in any case, as soon as I ship my pile of loot, I'm probably gonna take a couple of Star Wars pictures, because I've been waiting forever for
Right.
this guy.
Right. What's cool though is that some of those figures you can definitely use, you can cross over, right? And a lot of us did back when we were kids, especially, crossing over and using some of the different figures and different roles, and like you were just talking about with Road Pig, right? And so yeah, I'm digging what you're laying down, and as soon as it comes in, don't reveal it here. But as soon as you do and you put up some photographs, I'll be eager to look at them, man. So real quick, let's just go ahead and jump into the chat, man. Let's get into it. And first and foremost, Frostbite GI Joe Repro here first. I am always a fan of anybody that literally is like, "Hey, man, I'm jumping in right on the dime," and I appreciate it. Love you, brother. Obviously, awesome person. Uh, Menjoza, what's up, all? What's up to you, my friend? Always good to see you. Uh, Francie Brady, sup, peeps. Um, I know a couple times. I think Francie's been in here. Am I right about that? Like, a couple times
I've
maybe
seen the
here
name
and there?
around. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen the name around. They're in Punk's chat
Okay.
recently too. So
Yeah, and I know I haven't and seen it in Punk's chat as well, so, hey, welcome in. Uh, Hopefully, hang out with us for a little while and have a good time. Really appreciate it. Let's see, scrolling
yeah, I
down,
thought so, Francie. We
same
appreciate you.
time toys. Shane, what's up? Shane been active on YouTube quite a bit, and I love to see it actually. I love watching people who just enjoy hanging out, man. Like you don't necessarily have to run a show. You know what I mean? Like just hanging out, having fun, having people come in, doing what you like to do. Um, I really appreciate that, and I do love to see it. Woody Triple Deuce in the house. What's up, buddy? And hey, very important. Hit the like button. It's always nice. We appreciate it. Obviously, it takes time to to grow some things and get some people in, but that definitely helps, man. And Woody, you are always great for that, man, and I really appreciate it, dude. Woody is the uh, him and Grievance are two people that they are army building, multiple figure having people. Like, it's unbelievable to me sometimes when I look at some of Woody's videos and I see like the sheer volume, like the sheer volume. It is fascinating to me. And that shows you that he really loves what he's into, man. And I do love that. Bobby Wold is here. What's up, Bobby? I like Sherlock's road pig instead of coming in with a tattoo on his stomach and came with a tramp stamp. Ooh, that give a whole nother meaning to road pig, I think. I don't know. It might be more like lot lizard, I think. Some of you guys that drive pickup or 18 wheelers know what I'm talking about. Yeah, right. Let's see here.
I'm really debating about erasing that dreadnought tattoo off his belly. I think he does look better without it. The
Really?
other ones I like. I like the other ones on his arms and stuff. I think those are cool.
Okay. There he is. Sup, y'all? Always providing the fist bump, 3-star draw. That is his signature at any time when he comes into a stream. Of course, that's my cousin. Love my cousin, and I'm glad he's here. I've got a stream with him tomorrow night on Sevens Wild on Seven Wild on his channel.
Like that Raptor video that he did. That looked like it was
Yes.
fun.
Oh my god. And you know what the thing of it is, Matthew, is that like he titled it like the worst ever or the worst. I didn't think so at all. As a matter of fact, my comment that I commented on, I thought it was great. I actually thought that the second half of it, and forgive me for technical speak, okay? Like this is, but when in YouTube, man, like sound is so crucial, right? Sound is so important. And a lot of times people will listen to you in the background. And I had people today at my work tell me, "Hey man, I put your videos on. I put you and Matthew on in the background." I did have that happen today from 2 people. And they're like, "Look, I'm working on work. I'm doing whatever. And I put you guys on and I listen to you." And I get it. That's what we all do, right? They're not engaged at 100%. It's fine. But my point is that the sound of it, right? And I really thought that the second half of that review and the microphone, the sound was fantastic. And I know that he probably felt like it wasn't that great, but that's what's so funny. You're always your greatest critic, right? Your worst critic. And I'm the same way. And I thought the review was just fine. I thought it was great. But I could see where when you do a whole take of it and then you have to come back and redo it, that's gonna take you off. And I get that. Liquid Identity 101 Tuesday nights are slow. Just gonna chill here and check it out. Well, Liquid, I appreciate it.
3-star. I like both of them, but the backyard video with Raptor and the photos, I really like that one.
I'm glad you brought that up because you're absolutely right. And I did not. And so I'm glad you mentioned that because I did love that part of it. I thought it was fun. I really did. And you could tell he was having fun with it. Put him in the tree, the whole part, like getting stuck in the tree and all that. So if you guys haven't seen 3-star draws Raptor review, go check it out because it is really good and it's funny. I mean, it just is. It is what it is, man. So yeah, Liquid Identity. Thank you for hanging out, man. Real quick, scrolling down. Matthew, tell me how do I need to say that? Because I know that he has been in, or they have been in your streams with Punk and whatever. How do I need to say this name?
I believe we determined that it's Graf.
Graf. I'm gonna say it like Chris Berman, 1992 NFL highlight show. Graf. That's how I'm gonna say it. So if that works for you, it works for me, baby. But I love it, man. Thank you so much. And Oliver Hardy, that Evan Williams jersey. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I was able to snag this one from a distributor, and I love it, man. I do. I love wearing this, especially in the fall. I guess when you're in 2-shirt mode, so to speak. I'm a chest hair kind of guy.
Now going back to that last comment real quick, he just smiled and pronounces his name and everything. I've always wanted to call him Grifter Graf. I don't know why.
Well, now, you know what? If you're doing comments or doing content rather, my bad, content, I mean, well, to be honest with you, he, she, I don't know, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And I look, I'm a generalized, I'm a Southerner, I'm a generalized kind of person, right? I talk about us guys, us gals, us whatever, and there's no harm meant by any of that, but at the same time, when you have screen names, you don't know
yeah.
everybody. You don't know what they prefer, so that's okay. But my point is that yeah, grifter crap. It's good if you can fit it all in. The problem is may not grift. You know, like some of us.
Nah, not that they're grifting anybody or whatever, but I just thought that
Yeah,
sounded right in my head.
it's the alliteration of it,
Yes. Yeah.
correct? Right?
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
an alliteration
Yeah.
fanatic. Maybe some of y'all also are. Maybe that's part of my, ADHD or whatever you want to call it, right? Like, but but nonetheless, I really appreciate you being here, Graph, and I've seen you in many of Punk streams and other streams as well. And so I appreciate you hanging out, man. Like, it is really like I enjoy doing this with Matthew every Tuesday night, and we're gonna go over some shows, bring you a little bit of news. There's some Hollywood activity. There is a surprise horror hit that is just taking over the social media webs that Matthew, I have not actually even mentioned to you. It's going to be a little bit of a surprise to you. I know some of the shows you and I watch, we follow the same people, and they have been talking about this. Chris Gore from Film Threat has been talking
Mhm.
about this. Okay, Francie, you nailed it.
Yep.
You nailed it, nailed it, nailed it. Uh, Gonna talk about it because in comparison to the
Yep.
Joker 2, and just, with the clown aspect. And look, I have not seen Terrifier 3. I did see Joker 2. I did give my review last week, and for those of you that saw it, you know how I feel about it. Those of you that
Fol
didn't see it, go
Folio
ahead.
No, I was just thinking, folio to me, that sounds like I fucked up. Well, sorry.
Yeah. No, 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 no. We're Matthew, we're
No.
well in. We're well in at this point. I mean,
Yeah, no,
YouTube wants to suppress
that
this
that
video for
that
one cuss word. Come on.
right, that name tag or whatever, that folia sounds like, yeah, I messed up. For whatever reason, those words together don't mean part 2 or whatever to me. That means
No.
folly I made.
100%. You know what it meant to me, Joker Folly Ado? It meant that they thought they were smarter than we were. I
Yeah.
thought
Oh,
to
well,
me, they
clearly that's
felt
what the director thinks because everybody got the first movie wrong. So he had to tell us what it was. And sometimes,
yes.
yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, we will get there. It just I felt that yes, they felt like okay, we're being clever. This is. I'm sure everybody that was creating that title was sitting around and they were just, you know, oh, this is absolutely, and it's like the one person in the room who can't speak up is just sitting there going, yeah, this is not such a good idea.
Right.
But yeah, 3 Star Draw says I told you back in June that movie was going to kill it. Yeah, definitely using the YouTube YouTube I don't even know chat
Mm.
things to try to get that. Yeah, man, I'm with you, and yes, you did, and I do remember that, and it has been, and we're gonna get to that because I have an article saved about it. Real
Mm.
quick, I wanted to mention Tony's Figs. I love Tony's Figs. Tony's Figs is a member of Club Tarkin, hashtag Club Tarkin, uh, and really good guy, definitely. So. Uh, Anytime you get a chance to maybe check out a stream with Tony, look at his videos, please do, because Tony is a fantastic person. It's Jay Gonzo also showing up. Yo, 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 what's up? Eric Thurman. Every week, every week, Eric Thurman is showing up, man. Thank you, brother. And so that's our chat right now. We're up to date and got everybody in here. As we add more, we'll try to bring you guys up. I love mentioning people as they come in for sure. Want to make sure I pay attention and and know everybody here. I love everybody that comes in, shows up every week, man. It really helps the channel and it helps me and Matthew and keep going, man. It's a lot of fun. So real quick, uh, so I gotta ask, did any of you get that supported the Dragonfly? Did any of y'all get another email?
Well, this
Because
time it happened 20 minutes before midnight, so technically it was on Monday I got the
okay,
email,
okay,
not Tuesday, but it's the normal Tuesday email that we've been getting.
okay. Again, the reason I bring this up is because in the chat, y'all let me know, okay? Are you good with this communication? Because that's something that has been an issue. It's something we've talked about. I've watched videos about. I've seen people mention on live streams. Are you good with this? Are you good with them every week just reminding you, "Hey," or are you the kind of person who is like, "Oh my god. Like, yes, my shipping is good, my money is good, you've already taken it," or whatever, right? And so just leave me alone. What kind of person are you? Are you the I'm good, or are you the kind of person that's like, yeah, keep reminding me just in case something weird happens. Maybe I move in the next month. Maybe my lease is up, right? Like whatever. Just let us know in the chat, if you're okay with this. I'm okay with it because I am a fan of communication. I'm a fan of making sure all T's are crossed and I's are dotted to the last minute. I mean, I really am. And I'm seeing some of the responses come in as you're highlighting some of them. Ship it or zip it, liquid identity 101. I like that. I respect that. I do. Francie said, it's making me want to change my address. That's very good. Um, yeah, man. Again, I'm okay with it. Matthew, like, are you? Is it overbearing to you, or are you kind of? Is it just eye rolling, or is it
Yeah,
like
to me it's eye rolling. I mean, I understand we've got to update addresses and be reminded of that, but you don't need to send one every week. It's the exact same email. There's
Yeah,
no other updates. There's nothing else of relevance to throw in there. It's a reminder email. We don't need one every single week. So you put one out and you say you have until this date to do it. 2 weeks later, you put one out. And
right.
then a couple of days before the deadline, you put one out. Right. So that way you've had your 3 opportunities to check in and change it. Every week is a little much. So
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, being one of saying, "Hey, you know what? Communication is golden." I'm good with that. Sometimes though, our perspectives may be skewed by our work environment,
mm,
by our family environment, by other things. And so maybe for me, a little bit of it is that
mm,
I work for a great company, but communication is an issue that
mm,
should be fixed or improved upon. Great company, but and that's a lot of workplaces, right? So it's not
yeah.
unusual. But my point is that I I have gotten better at checking my emails every day. I used to not. I say famously, it's stupid. I told the story. I deleted 52,000 emails one day, and
Woo.
it locked my computer up for like 4 hours. I
Wow.
couldn't use it. It was stuck.
He was Hillary
Deleting
Clinton his laptop.
yeah. Hey, oh, 52,000 emails. Holy moly. Uh, yeah, no, it really was, and so I was really bad at checking my emails. So for Hasbro saying, "Hey, look, we get it. Not everybody is staying on top of this." And they're going out of their way. Now, if it was twice
Yeah.
a week, I'd say, "Okay, all right, I've had enough."
Yeah.
Once a week, just up until here in the next, what are we on the 15th today? The Ides of October, Et tu, Brute? Wait, no, that's March. Anyway, so, October 24th, I'm okay with it ultimately, when it's all said and done. but I could fully understand. It
Yeah.
won't let Eric Thurman says it won't let me change. Wait, what? Wait. 3-star draw. If you have not watched his video from weeks back
Yeah. Yep.
about this issue and about an address change that didn't happen,
Mhm.
okay? An address change that did not happen. Go back, watch that video. And I know I'm plugging my cousin's video, but my point is, it was a good video and it got a lot of views. 3 3K or something. Um, he didn't do anything. He didn't change anything. He
Yeah.
changed the card. He changed the card, but he had never had a problem out of that card. But, they said it was an address change, and so I guess maybe some of those issues that happened is why we're getting all these emails. I'm just
Yeah.
guessing, but, nonetheless, I didn't wanna bring it up for super long. I know we've probably spent way too much time on it already, but I did think that it was, interesting that we've gotten these every week, and I'm like, "Oh, did we get another one? Here it
Yeah.
goes." Um So I wanted to ask you, Matthew. I'd asked you if you wanted to, you had something that maybe you were able to save and bring up, just kind of news wise, just kind of easing us in. And so if you can, if you're able to
Yeah.
kind of bring that up, man, and kind of mention, what you're wanting to talk about, I would like to kind of bring that up, man. If you're good to go on that.
The RoboSkull? Sure.
Yes,
Um, so
yes.
speaking of emails, we got this update here from Skeletron, um, talking about address updates because the Jungle Wolf will be shipping soon. So if you added this 4-inch figure to your collection, they've got that repaint done, and he's getting ready to ship out soon. Um, and then they're saying that the Robo Skulls are on the water. They are expecting to ship them out in by November, have them in by Halloween. So November, hopefully they'll be shipping some of them out. Now, I believe this is only a portion of the order, so the rest of them are still back, waiting to be finished or whatever. And then you've got all this stuff here, which is pushed off to the 6-inch figures and everything. They're pushed off to next year. Um, and that was pretty much known. They were looking at like a March timeframe
Okay.
for that. And the flight stands was the only. So the armor plating on the special edition, I don't think was finished yet. And I thought there was an issue with the flight stands, but they say that those are on the water too. So at least the first batch of them, they're on their way. And then they're going to be at assembly required. So that's a great show. I encourage people. It's a really family orientated GI Joe show. They do a lot of great stuff. A lot of great people involved with it. Brian Sauer does amazing artwork, and he creates a lot of props, toys, custom figures, backdrops. My custom Storm Shadow water tower and custom Dreadnoks shack is some of his stuff. But um,
Now, so you were expecting, like, next year. You said March of next year. Like, you were expecting that. That was
for
not a
the
secret, or that was something that kinda midway through this year maybe got pushed back a little bit?
well, so they put out a timeline, and they put phase A, B, C, D. And they'd already done phase A and B, which was basically the first one was the Skeledrones, the second one was the record and the O-ring figure and the 4-inch wolf troopers.
Okay.
And then C is this jungle wolf and the Robo Skulls, but it doesn't look like the jungle wolves and Robo Skulls are coming in at the same time. Um, so I don't know if they're going to go out together or not, but those look like they're going to be ready. When I first read the email, I thought that they were saying basically no Robo Skulls till next year, but they're looking at least that first wave of them. I forgot how many they said it was, but that will be coming sooner than later.
But again, this is communication, right? I mean, right
Yeah.
there, it says if you scroll up just a little bit, Uh, hang on, down just a tad to phase, right here, these 2, phase 4, phase 6. And
No, yeah,
it says right
phase
here.
C and D, 4-inch figures, 6-inch figures.
Yeah, and it says, "Look, we're pushing hard for this production to follow immediately on the heels of MK2, but
Yep,
based on the current status, it seems clear we will not be able to put phase D products into your hands by year end."
yep,
Uh, Look, be real with your audience, right? Be
yeah,
real with your customers and let them know. Say, hey, 6-inch fans, thanks for your patience. Yeah, I love that. Now, doesn't sometimes doesn't make the pain any easier. Sometimes you've been waiting on something like
yep,
for 5 years, like you're talking about earlier.
yeah.
But at the same time, look, communication is the key, right? And
And
and I
that
appreciate.
soured me on a bunch of creators, and especially lately. There's
Okay.
another creator that worked on a project that I was super excited for. Will Jordan, the Critical Drinker, worked on part of it, and Chuck Dixon worked on part of it, and it was great stuff. Um, and they worked with Sylvester Stallone on this, and it was the First Kill graphic novel, and the
Oh, that's right.
so the Critical Drinker wrote the Troutman pre-story, which was a one-issue comic book that he wrote. And then Chuck Dixon wrote the origin story of Rambo. And
Yes.
The guy who kind of put it all together has been ranting and raving on the internet and trashing anybody who questions him or asks him about the product that has been delayed for 2.5 years or whatever. And they're like, "Hey, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with this." And then he waylays on the guy, several people. And so I actually emailed Chuck Dixon uh, and said, "Hey, your boy Zach is messing up over here.
Man,
Robert
I knew
Mayer."
it. I knew it. I knew that's what you were gonna say.
And he, I don't want to bug him because I don't want to get the backlash from even speaking to the man. Could you
Right.
contact him? And a day later, they send out an email saying, giving us a product update, and then no shipping notification, no emails, no nothing. It shows up on my door. A week
Wait,
later.
what?
Yeah. So I had gotten Will's comic and most of the tchotchkes early
Yeah.
on, but the main book it just showed up on my door. And I'm like, okay, I didn't get a shipping notification. I didn't
Wow.
get any information from anybody. Boom,
Wow.
it was just there. So I got that, and I reached back out to Chuck and thanked him if he had anything to do with any of that, and chatted
He
back with him a little
probably
bit.
did because
I'm,
Chuck Dixon seems like a stand-up,
oh
pretty
yeah,
awesome dude
absolutely.
who is not above talking to fans and
Oh yeah,
people who
no, I mean
enjoy what he's done over the years.
he's got two videos a week that he does on what he's reading and questions from his audience. So people email him questions or put them in
I
the videos or
dude,
whatever.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so every Thursday
Oh,
he's got
crap.
a Ask Chuck Dixon segment where he goes over and spends 30-40 minutes answering questions from people that have sent into him. Um, and then on Friday, he'll release a shorter video that's what you're reading, where he talks about what he's reading right now and why, and the kind of
Yeah.
stuff that he's working on. So he's very engaging, and since he's hooked up with Eric July, I mean, he's blown up in my mind. He's producing a bunch of books, brand new characters. He's super excited and
Yeah,
motivated
man.
about writing and doing this stuff again.
Yeah.
So I love to see it.
Man, look, here's the deal, man. And for those of you that maybe don't know that aren't comic fans, like Chuck Dixon created Bane. All right. Like this, you know, just think about that for a minute, right?
Yeah,
We could go back to the 40s or 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s Stan Lee, right? And so people hold these people in reverence, right? They created this character. They created Bill Finger or whomever, right? Um
yeah,
Man, like, dude, Bane, okay? And so, everything I've seen Chuck Dixon do, and again, we've pumped up or we've talked about Eric July on this show. We haven't gone deep dive all in, and look, I don't expect everybody to be plugged in, tuned in, whatever. And real quick, I want to say hey to War Chest Full of Toys, who is in the chat, and Viper Scout. Definitely, who has slid into the DMs. But like, yeah, Chuck Dixon, dude, like great writing, and then someone that he worked with, who I will bring up momentarily. Um, but yeah, like this is someone who created an iconic character, right? That's been portrayed now in film and just multiple runs of
Well,
books.
and I'll
And
say,
he,
he created that character with an artist named Kelly Jones,
yes,
and both of them as a team together are phenomenal, and they've worked on many projects together, but individually, they're still working on amazing stuff as well, you know, because Kelly does that Dracula book that I was talking about a while back.
yeah, yes, actually, 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
actually, I believe, yeah.
Yeah.
And uh, and so yeah, look, hey man, if y'all get a chance, look, go read like the Chuck Dixon run with Bane, Snake Eyes. Like he's done so much. There is an artist he has worked with who I enjoy listening to when I see him pop up here and there. And it's somebody that I'm going to bring up really
Nice.
quickly before we get into some of our news. But it's somebody by the name of Graham Nolan.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah,
Graham Graham
Graham Nolan.
Nolan,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, has a new Indiegogo. Some of you may be familiar with that name. I know there's some names in this chat that are familiar with the name Graham Nolan. He has a new Indiegogo for Escape from Monster Island.
Yes, I saw
Um,
that.
yeah, and right now it 20,460 US dollars with 357 backers. If you like Graham Nolan stuff, I would highly recommend, backing this project. I do love his artwork. And I'm going to bring up his main cover page here from his website. And with any Indiegogo, of course, they have all the kind of usual deals, right? With the different 3 cover deal, you can get posters, shirt, whatever it is, right? Whatever they include, bookmark, and book, whole, markers and stuff like that. Um, but I love when Graham goes on, and especially with Chuck, when you get the
Yeah.
2 of them going, man.
Oh, yeah.
You talk about comics, man. You're talking about legends in
Yeah,
in
I
the
mean,
comic
he's
book
the same way
industry.
with Kelly too, so it's really awesome to see.
You're right about that too, and I have a Kelly Jones book over here that I picked up at my local
But,
comic shop 2 weeks
Graham
ago.
Nolan and Chuck Dixon did another project by your boy Zach, was the Expendables Go to Hell, and that was fun.
Yes, and actually, real quickly, I'm gonna bring that up actually. This is his cover site, on his website.
There you
Expendables
go.
Go to Hell,
Yep.
Return to Monster Island, Bane Conquest,
Monster
uh,
Island's great.
Miscellaneous Marvel, Miscellaneous DC, Fantastic Four. Here's the various covers that he's done. We can scroll through some of these just so you guys can check out, his artwork. Obviously, I mean, dude, look, there's no better rogues gallery. Maybe Spider-Man comes close. Um,
Yeah.
with Batman, and not that he created those, but just, his drawing. I mean, Spider-Man, I love this one right here. I was
Yeah.
looking at it earlier with Jay Jonah in the window. I just think it's great. But if you are familiar with Graham and you do like his work, check out that Indiegogo, Escape from Monster Island. You can find it. Just Google it. I think it's worth bringing up. And I think anybody who's a legend in the comic book industry who has been pushed out for their politics or pushed out because they are, um, you know, uh, old and pale is stale. Um, you can figure that one out on your own. Um, these guys deserve to continue to do their artwork. They continue to write their stories, and they should continue, and they're very good at what they do. So I just wanted to bring that up since we did mention Chuck Dixon, and
Yeah.
so guys,
No, yeah, I mean, those are great
love it.
teams. Great
Yeah,
people. They've all been wonderful to chat with and watch interact with the fans. They do a really good job, I think.
and I'm glad that I'm glad you even through email and who knows, maybe he did have something to do with getting that to
Uh,
your door literally in days.
well,
Uh,
okay, it was probably zeitgeist or timing, right? I mean,
yeah,
things
that's
were in
true.
place and stuff
Who
like that,
knows,
right?
man? Who knows?
But at the
I
same time, I want to say that at least, I mean, because it was about 24 hours later, almost exactly 24 hours after I sent that email, that we got an update to what was going on. And I'm
that's
like,
pretty
okay,
wild.
thank you. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's pretty
that's
wild.
all I was asking for was an update. Didn't want to get my
Seriously.
head bitten off though, because Robert's been pretty
No.
nasty with people lately. So
Look, I know all about that, and I understand. I mean, but a positive outcome,
yep,
it's always good, right?
yep.
I mean, definitely. And real quick too, a couple more people slid into our DMs. Matthew Clint Jorgensen. I know that the comment's not for us, but I at least wanted to highlight
Clint
Clint,
Jorgensen.
the one and only, and the one and only, a punk with toys. Hello, fools. And yes, that's what we all are in here, fooling around. And always a pleasure to have you drop by for a little bit and put us on and see what your moderators are up to on a Tuesday night, or your
Well, his other
moderator. And then
moderator's
I
not doing
know,
anything.
okay, well, and I wasn't sure about that, but
They put a
moderate.
post out. It was funny because it had Travis and Ed was sticking the middle finger at everybody and said, "No show tonight, guys."
That's one way to do it. That's definitely one way to do it. And
Hey,
then
careful! That means the same thing in certain
oh
places.
no, that's right. I can't even do the okay sign anymore. I don't know. I can't even do anything anymore, right? It's a restriction. Todd C also dropping in here. Dreadnought
What's up,
K6
Todd?
dropping in. This might be a
Dreadnought.
stream raid, man. I don't know. It could be. Man, always good to see y'all
Turnabout's fair
coming in.
play, right? We should have him moderate this one, right?
Yeah, right. That would be fun, but I mean, I wouldn't want to give him that kind of responsibility. We don't usually have a lot of things in our chat that
He
require.
mods nothing because he owns YouTube. Did you not know that? I mean, he gets all the revenue from all the YouTube.
I heard Mama Susan turned over the keys to him.
Yeah. Mama Susan turned it over to
Mama,
Punk. And
Mom.
and Punk has been the de facto head of YouTube, hiding in the shadows, not letting anybody know. That's what's really going on.
It's all a big shadow game, isn't
Yep.
it?
Yep.
You got to be in the know to be in the know. So look, let's get into it, man. We hit some Robo Skull. We touched upon, some Graham Nolan that I wanted to bring up personally because I do want to highlight people who are still in this industry but are not with DC or Marvel, which I hope you guys support indie comics. Eric July, again, I'll say that name. Support him. Indie comics, indie anything, indie filmmaking, something I'd like to focus on a little bit more myself. Talked about the Dragonfly. Oh boy, um, it's time. It's time to get into it. So, first thing I'm going to bring up is the box office for Joker 2. And I also want to know in the chat, please let us know if you can. Have you seen Joker 2? Do you plan on seeing Joker 2? Foily ado. Do you plan on seeing it? Have you seen it? And then I want to share with you the box office
Yeah.
numbers to this date, and then we're
Did
gonna
did
kinda get into it
did
from there.
3 Star finally see it? I didn't.
I I don't know.
Okay.
I honestly do not know. And he will probably put that in here, in the next couple minutes.
Yep.
But nonetheless, it's worth talking. And as I go through the chat here, just looking, man,
Tony, as did most people.
you know, um, So let's go ahead and just call this a disaster, right?
Yeah.
So to give you guys a backstory on this, maybe you know, maybe you don't. Uh, Joker One was filmed on a $50 million budget. It made over one and I believe $500 million, or
Yep.
one roughly and billion and $500 million at the
Yeah,
box office.
but
Okay,
you're
you're about to say, yeah. So I tell you what, I'll let you say it so that they understand it. But I just want to get this out here for people that do not know. $50
yeah,
million budget, 1.5 billion at the box office. But why did Warner Brothers want to do a sequel, Matthew?
because they had no faith in the movie. So the vast majority of that $55 million budget came from other investors. So those
Correct.
other investors got the majority of the revenue. So based off of the box office revenues, you have to take into account how much the theaters take and how much everybody else takes, and you're looking at roughly whatever the production budget is. It has to make 3 to 4 times that in the box office to make its money back, especially if you're international. If it's international, it's going to be more towards that 4 times. And so playing the numbers game with how much they had to give back to other people, Warner Brothers took in roughly $250 million of profit from that $1 billion, over $1 billion in ticket sales that they
Yeah.
made.
Yeah.
And so they took all that money and they gave it to Joaquin Phoenix and Todd Phillips and said, make another movie. And they made this movie for $220 million.
220, that's before marketing.
Yeah. And
Um,
so to make its profit back, to be profitable, you have to multiply that by 3 to 4 times, right? So 250 times 3. So it has to make over 750, $800 million before it becomes profitable.
that's absolutely right. So when you look at these numbers, you realize when it released 2 weeks ago, right? I saw it a week late, so 2 weeks ago.
Did you hear when it's
And
coming into streaming?
okay, I have that saved, and we're
Okay.
gonna bring that up as well. Yes, I do my homework. I am look,
I
as
know,
as
I know.
as some of you know, I am a fly by the seat of my pants kinda guy. That may stress some people out. It doesn't mean I don't come prepared. It doesn't mean that I'm not ready to perform. And so, yes, I did save that because I found that interesting. And so, yeah, we're gonna bring that up in just a moment. Really quickly before we kinda get into that, I just wanted to look and see what everybody kinda said, as far as going to see it. Francie Brady says no and no, as in no, I haven't seen it, and no, I'm not planning on it. Tony's Fig says totally skipping Joker 2. Um, let's see here. 3-star
Viper
draw
Scout.
said, you know what? I still haven't seen it. Don't foily spoiler. A spoiler. That's good. Um, you if you I told you earmuffs last week when I spoiled the shit out of this thing,
Yeah.
and I hope you did. But at the same time, if you didn't, I promise you, cause you ain't missing nothing.
Nah, yeah, not missing
And
much.
then Todd C says going to the movies would require taking my wife in a movie date, so it's a no. Graph says slipping Joker 2 out of respect for Joker 1. I'm sure that's skipping, yes, right below that.
Yeah.
And then Viper Scott says, didn't watch the first one, not planning on watching either. And so that's kind of the sentiment. And I just wanted to highlight this comment, not because I have to bring it up, but I do appreciate the Buckies in Sevierville, which I am very familiar with, my friend Clint. So tell them I said hi. They won't know what the hell you're talking about. Um, so anyway, so here's the deal. This movie was greenlit because the first one made a lot of money. And guess what? Like you said, Matthew, Warner Brothers didn't make crap off of that $1.5 billion, not what they
Yeah.
should have, because they
Right.
didn't have faith in it. So
Yep.
guess what? They backed a dump truck full of money up. They took all the profit. They gave it to 2 out of the 3 people in the movie, and the other part they gave to Lady Gaga. And then They spent $200+ million on a budget. They spent $100 in marketing, 100 million in marketing, and we end up with a worldwide box office after 2 weeks of 165,687,480 or 165,687,484 dollars. So, um, that's a failure, right?
Yeah,
Like that's
I mean,
shambles.
we haven't seen an 84% drop in from week 1 to week 2 numbers
Goodness gracious.
since what? The Marvels?
Yeah, the Marvels was really bad, really, really, really bad, and to go on what you were bringing up earlier, just so I don't, kinda lose that for the digital release and everything, and let's stop the independents, not not now. I don't want any, notifications, independent, thank you very much. I don't even want your commercials. So here's the deal. Um, yeah, man, I went to see it last week. This movie is not a good film. It's not what you want from it. It's not what the fans wanted. Um, Todd, yes, I
Of course we
assume
can.
you absolutely 100% can, and I would say in today's age, that we live in, that they would do that for you.
Mhm.
Um, it is not good. I mentioned it last week. Every person that I told I was going to see this film had the same reaction. "Ooh, man, I haven't heard good things about it. Oh, yeah, the reviews, just didn't look good. It said it wasn't that good. Oh, it's a musical?" You know, and all of those questions, all those comments are 100% correct, and it's showing now, and this is so it's amazing that Warner's can go from having, like, a really successful movie to turning around and having a complete and utter bomb, right?
Yep.
What was the one they just recently, had that was a
Oh,
success for them,
yes.
and shame on me for not
I
actually,
just forgot about it. Yes,
uh,
I know. Yeah, they had, what was
it
the
it
what
it's, I was just thinking of it earlier today, and, and then turning around and seeing them follow that back
Yeah,
up,
yep.
with a total dud. Um, Bottom line, either way, it's like, you see that back and forth, and it's hard to make a profit as a studio like that. It's hard to then turn around after a failure such as this, and
So
then
I
want to give
uh,
a large budget.
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice,
Yep,
successful for them, made on a
yep,
smaller budget, which was
yep,
a great idea.
yep.
And so yeah, so right, they follow that up. And then here, and I apologize for all the ads. I hate when websites do this now. You can barely read, what they have on here,
Careful,
but
teaser warning ahead. That FBI commercial will trigger some people.
evidently flashing lights. Okay, release date for the digital release of Joker 2 has been announced. Just 3 days ago at work, 3 or 4 days ago at work, I mentioned this on Thursday
Yep,
night. I
yep.
said, "This is gonna be it's gonna be 30 days." You're gonna
And it's
have
less than 30 days.
currently, it has a 33% on, from critics on Rotten Tomatoes, has a 32% audience score based over 5,000 verified reviews. Now, really quickly, this movie was screened, uh, earlier a couple months ago. Was it in Venice? I believe, at a film festival, and 2 months ago, the word started getting out that this film was not going to be successful.
Yep.
So we've had 2 months. Now, any of y'all that have paid attention or read this news, like you and I kinda keep up with some of these shows, we started to see that, and so that's when things start getting adjusted and going, "Hey, audiences may not connect with this film like they did the first film." They
Nope.
deconstruct the Arthur character. Um,
I
when the
mean,
first movie, they really gave you a deep dive on this character. Now they spend a film deconstructing this character.
well, and then the first movie left it open-ended so that you could debate and have questions about what happened, and then on the second one, he clearly
Ooh.
defines what happened and ruins the first movie.
A hundred
So
percent. Really quickly, Matthew, October 29th. 9th.
Like I said,
That is
it's
brutal.
less than 4 weeks. It's
Good
3 weeks
God.
from the time of release to the time of it hitting streaming. And I don't mean streaming as in it's a free service, because when they say digital, it means they want you to buy it or rent it on there, and they're going to do
Yes.
that for a little bit before they
Yep.
put it on Max. And if they're smart, if anybody will take it, they won't put it on Max, and they'll license it out for Netflix or somebody else to put it up.
Yeah. Whomever.
Yeah,
Right.
because
Yeah.
that's the only money that they see from that movie.
And so here's the deal, right? Like I would never I'm not gonna tell somebody look, I know I have strong opinions, but I will say I'm not gonna tell someone if they like this film, if they went to see it and they like this film, then have at it, right? Like, what you got out of it is different than what I got out of it. What a lot of people got out of it, obviously, based on the scores and stuff like that. I don't think this is a film that got review bombed like we see sometimes
No.
claimed in the media. I
There's no
don't
such
think
thing as review bombing.
there's not because
I don't believe in that.
there's good I don't either. There's good and bad. There's people who create an account and
Yep,
they've never reviewed a movie. They create a one account so that they can say a one sentence thing about a movie that they probably didn't even see because
yep.
they're upset that people don't like it or vice versa.
Yeah,
So
it happens both way, and it
absolutely.
balances out, so I
Yes.
would not take review bombing to be an actual thing that would marketably adjust a score.
I agree with you 100%. I think it's just it's gaslighting in a way. It's a way for the media to
Yep,
try to fire up people's emotions and to get engagement with their platform and whatever. This movie is not a victim of that. This movie is not a good movie, and it's not resonating with critics. It's not
nope,
resonating with fans. So the 29th of October, less than a month after the film opens, that's brutal, dude.
brutal.
That is brutal for a movie that made a $1.5 billion. This is such a loss for Warner Brothers
Yep,
to then invest the 200 to three
yep,
hundred million dollars or more. This is terrible. This
yep.
is terrible for them.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Man,
many people have said it, and many people agree that Warner Brothers is the dumbest company, and I've said that. I've said that for 30 years now
don't
because
show a trailer on YouTube.
yeah.
They'll copyright claim your video quick.
So positive or negative, they eat their own. And Warner Brothers has always been this way
Yeah,
because the brothers hated each other. They hated each other so much that they fractioned the entire company so that the movie company, what goes into theaters, competed against the budgets for home video. So home video wouldn't be able to produce stuff, even if the movie was successful and they wanted to continue that success, they don't count the home video sales with the movie sales as an entire thing because they fight against each other, and then the music fights against that, and then
right.
the television rights fight against that. So the whole company fights against itself. They compete against itself internally instead of being a cohesive thing that say this is one product and we can track its money making potential through all of our departments.
Right.
So, and that was because the brothers hated each other and they wouldn't work with each other.
Well, and there's another company that I'm gonna bring up here in a few minutes that, decided even though there are failures abound, that decided to give the golden parachute, the CEO raises, the
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you decide to resign under good terms, we're gonna give you X amount of money when you leave for
yeah,
failure, folks, like, for failure, for running a company into the ground, multiple divisions, and so, I've got a small thing to bring up about that, which just really hits home
yep.
this thing with the movies and the television that we've been getting, right? And Woody Triple Deuce Figure Addict says my wife was going to take me to go see that movie a few weeks back, if you remember, and I do. And I told her no thanks. We saved the $30 and spent it on baby oil.
Ah!
Hey, baby, just like Diddy. Wait. Can I say that? Wait a minute. Can I
No,
say that? No, I
no.
can't say that. Can I not say that word on YouTube, the YouTube webs? And yes, absolutely. Punk with Toys, hit that like button. It does cost nothing. It is easy to do, but it's so often forgotten.
It doesn't cost nothing. It costs the energy to point your finger and click.
That's true. And so many people on here definitely do. And like I said earlier at the top of the stream, it's always appreciated. Definitely, man. And this show would not be near as fun without y'all in the chat and hanging out and definitely giving me little comments here or there to quip about it. It's probably one of the I'm not a great joke teller, but I'm really good as far as like quick on the draw kind of stuff. That's been my forte for a long time. And whenever there's stuff provided, I love to read and kind of say something about it.
Quick
Uh
witted with a fast straw. Oh, you know that song?
what song is that?
You may not know that one. This would be interesting.
I don't
It's
know.
it's Chuckles' song.
What?
You've never heard Welcome to Cobra Island, have you?
Okay, hang on. All right, you guys in the chat, put it right now. All right, call me out. Call me out for not hearing Welcome to Cobra Island. Call me out. I want you to call me out over it because I do not know that. I
So
really don't.
so Word Burglar is a musician, Canadian, Sean Esberg, and he's partnered with Diagnostic 80, Chris McLeod on a couple
Okay.
and he worked on the Skeletron record that they did. But every one of his albums has at least one G.I. Joe song on it. Fred Broca is one of them. And then he's got his entire album, Welcome to Cobra Island. And it is, there's two parts of a Snake Eyes saga that's on there. He's got a third part on another album. But he's got a Chuckle song, a Zartan song, Destro,
I'm lost.
getting busy in the back of a buzzbore. I mean, come on, there's
Yeah,
no
come
backseat in a
on.
buzzbore. Come
What?
on, man.
What?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
he better
so
sample.
the Chuckle song is awesome. I love it. Yes, he samples the cartoon music. Yes,
Okay.
I enjoy it. I think it's really good.
And 3-Star Dress says, you heard it. I sent it to you a while back. I'm like, damn it. Well, listen, folks, I don't want to even let you into the middle of this brain. Okay. I really don't. I don't want you to have an inside look into what happens within these
if
uh
if you're a GI Joe
brain
fan
matter.
and you like hip hop type of rap music, or even if you don't, if you're
That's
just a GI
great.
Joe fan, you got to listen to Welcome to Cobra Island. It is a cohesive album, and I love every bit of it.
Okay.
There's one song on his most recent album that I really don't like, but for the most part, he's got drawings with words. He actually made a music video on this whole comic book thing where he rattles off a bunch of Canadian comic book shops and a whole bunch of artists and stuff. It's a really amazing song if you know a lot about comic books,
Okay.
because
And that's part of
it's
it.
a
Yeah.
deep dive into comic book lore.
Okay.
With Broomhall's ashes, and yeah, he actually put ashes on the page. He made the
Wow.
pages out of ashes when he published the book.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so
I
it's weird.
I got some learning to do then. I got some stuff to
Ah,
and 3-Star definitely obviously sent it to me and I'm like right over my head. Yeah, War Chest real quick. Saw it, wouldn't watch it again. Fell short for me. You can see Gaga and Phoenix put the
yeah,
work in the relationship, and I agree with that. The cinematography is great. The musical numbers are not that great. I think that they don't add to the story. They don't give us any exposition. They're sometimes very short. They're not sung very well. Not all of them are sung like songs. They're speak singing like I mentioned last
yeah.
week. And I know War Chest, I know he did see it, and I did talk to him about that as well. But and it says no fan service, yeah. I mean, listen, man, people, look. I'm not saying companies always have to follow what the fans want because if they did that, they would never innovate and they would
Yep.
never come up with new ideas and things that you and I
It,
love.
right.
But I do believe there is something to be said for at least knowing your audience, understanding your audience and who
Yep.
showed up. and and also he says just gets narcissistic. It did get really Foghorn Leghorn for me. It was very odd in the courtroom, movie
Well,
theaters.
I mean, yeah,
Todd C. Yeah, I mean we'll see. I mean we
i
will see.
if anybody has seen Martin Scorsese's New York, New York, you would realize that this is a direct remake of that movie with all of its horrible music takes in that movie as well. So, I mean, that movie
Right.
bombed so hard. It was terrible, and nobody's ever gone back to look at it again because it was so bad. So, if the first two movies were Taxi Driver and King of Comedy, then this one was definitely New York, New York, and
Um,
and it bombed just as bad.
Yeah, and if your inspiration is from a musical that was terrible from one of the greatest directors ever in the history of film, then chances are, if that's what you're using as a template, probably not going to turn out so well. Tony's
Yep.
Figs, I think I actually have heard of word burglar, I believe. And real
He's got
quick
some
too,
good albums.
Menyoza, is it okay? Last night I heard Menhoza. I like Menjoza because G.I. Joe. That's what I read. But however you want me to say it, I'll say it. Doesn't matter. If you
Punk,
don't care, I don't care either, right? It,
Punk uses the Menhoza because he says
right,
that
right, right.
he likes the way that sounds.
Right, and I heard that last night,
Yeah,
so I'm like, "Hey,
we know
you
it
tell."
is Menjoza. We know it's
Yeah,
Menjoza.
okay, see, I like the Menjoza because I like the G.I. Joe,
Right.
connection to it, but,
Yeah.
her, Star Wars Gangster Rap, I will tell you, the bad lip reading Star Wars songs, have you've seen those, right?
Yeah.
Those are some of the greatest seagulls
Oh yeah.
oh my god, like, it's those get look them up. Look them up. Star Wars bad lip reading on YouTube, man, and sit there and just
So
enjoy yourself for like 30 minutes.
my favorite Star Wars parody songs are from Weird Al and Sean Esberg, Word Burglar.
Yoda, my ODA
Yoda,
Yoda.
Yoda.
Yeah, man.
And where's my at?
Where's my at? God bless it. All right. So look, here's the deal. Let's go ahead and bring this other banner up. We're gonna go from one clown to another, ladies and gentlemen. 3-star draw told me it was gonna be a huge, huge thing. And obviously he was correct. Terrifier 3 post $21.5 million 4-day holiday opening. Um 2 million today, estimated. You talk about giving the audience what they want, goofy, violent, the people that saw the first 2, they know what it is, right?
Yeah.
I have not seen the first 2. I don't know anything about them.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with
Only
the series.
only recently have I been turned on to it, and the reason I made, want to make the correlation to today is because I saw it as part of a Film Threat stream yesterday, before I went to work, which was Joker 2 versus Terrifier 3, and, one clown to another. And it's
Nice.
obvious which clown is kind of winning. Now, is Terrifier 3 going to do 160 million at the box office? Probably not.
Nope.
But from a profit perspective,
Right.
that's a whole different
Well,
ballgame.
and then we go back to the fact that this is what Chris Gore and the guys at Film Threat have been talking about for a while. Is like the only way that the movie industry survives is if they go back to making cheap, low budget films that will make money, and the cheap, low budget films that make the most money are horror films, right? And
Yeah,
so if you go
yes.
back to we're going to see a lot more horror films coming out again from independents and other people because those money are so cheaply made, but they make a ton of money profit wise, percentages wise, right?
You hit it. That's exactly right. You hit it on the head. They are able to be made at a low budget, but what they provide for the audience right, is that the bottom line, that goes back to well beyond whatever, but even in the 80s when the slasher genre
Yeah.
became, and Frostbite, man, we gotta have a talk, buddy. We gotta have a talk. Uh, um, but when the slasher late 70s, early 80s, and all through the 80s, it really became played out. But there is something to be said for the entertainment of the thrill, right?
Yep.
Being scared, being jump
Now,
scared, or the unknown, or
yeah,
whatever. There's something to
love
be
it.
said that people love that feeling.
They do, and you go back to the '80s, and I want to touch on that again because there's a three-part documentary series that's over, 20 hours of documentary stuff that's on there called In Search of Darkness, Part 1, 2, and
Yes.
3, and
Yeah.
they cover only movies in the 1980s.
Yes.
Only horror movies in the 1980s, and it took them 3 volumes of 4-hour documentaries to cover it, and it is phenomenal because they don't really tread much ground and they go through all the different genres and all the different levels from blockbusters to failures to whatever, but they talk about them. And now they're doing another documentary on just the 90s films. So I mean, this company's made great stuff, from In Search of Tomorrow for sci-fi movies in the
Yeah.
80s.
Yep.
And so the 80s have some of the greatest movies ever, and the
I mean,
90s have a lot of great ones too.
yeah, man. I mean, just I mean, look at, man. A lot of us here are of a certain time period, right? A lot of us are in our 40s, maybe 50s, maybe late 30s, whatever. I don't know, but you put that together, and you find that you're raised or you snuck off to turn the satellite on, the TV satellite or cable or whatever it was you could do, right? You had the VHS. We'd go to the VHS store and you'd look at all those covers and you'd see those crazy wild covers, and maybe we're allowed to rent one of them, and you take it home, and maybe it didn't turn out to be what was on the cover, as red letter media so often shows you on their channel.
Yep.
um but yeah, like a lot of these things, like they're things we remember. They're from a time that these types of films came popular. um and um and so, yeah, like this has been killing it, with their budget and with what they're doing and being independent. And I love it, man. Like
Yeah.
I wish, Matthew, you'd have thought that with the ability at cameras now that you're not shooting on film, that you're not having to spend that money maybe on, you got green screen, whatever it is, right? If you're able
Right.
to make it work. But you would have thought over the last 15 years, 20 years, but really the last 15, in my opinion, independent film would have become such a just huge industry. But
Mhm.
I believe that what we've seen, and we're not going to get into it with this show, but I do believe what we've seen through the checkbox mentality of studios and companies, that instead of seeking out just anyone who has talent, they've foregone that avenue of really uplifting that indie scene and people that are really talented in favor of maybe giving people a show running credit or a producer role or director role that maybe
The
doesn't deserve or had the chops for that type of thing.
Yeah, the movie budgets have gotten so out of control that they can't, right? The studios, when the budgets get high, the studios need a massive amount of control, right? When the budgets are low, they don't want much control because they're trying to write it off, right? They're
Right,
trying to
right.
over it, like the first Joker movie, right? You know, and so if we get back to those smaller budget things, that's the bread and butter. That's what keeps a studio alive. And
Yes.
these studios are not producing these low budget films anymore. They're only
Y
producing the mega blockbuster superhero film because that was the du jour of the last 10 years. Because Marvel did it, why can't anyone else? Well, because Marvel initially had a plan, initially, up until Infinity War or Endgame, and then after that, they
Right,
didn't have a plan, and it all
right.
fell apart after that, right? So there was a bigger picture, and there's no bigger picture, and no one else can bring everything together. You had Universal try to start the Dark Universe, right? And that failed. And
That's too
DC
bad
and
too.
it
That's
is too
too
bad,
yeah, that's too bad.
but they didn't. I don't know if they were just trying to rush it and trying to
They were copying Marvel, and they thought they had saw a quick way to cash that we can cash in on the old monster
yeah.
universe of the Mummy, the Wolfman, Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and they rushed into it, and they took quality off the table and thought we're gonna have Tom Cruise, and it's gonna be a hit, and we're gonna do this, and it
Well,
failed
I
spectacularly.
mean, it started with Dracula Untold, right? And
Yeah,
and so you've got Dracula Untold, you've got the Tom Cruise Mummy movie, and you could even probably even throw in there Benicio del Toro's The Wolfman. Now,
right.
now that Wolfman movie is actually pretty good.
I
The
actually liked that movie, but
Yeah,
you know, I was it part of their plan though? And I don't wanna go too
it wasn't
I don't
part of
wanna
their
go too
plan.
deep on
Yeah,
this,
it
but
wasn't part of their
I didn't think so.
plan.
Yeah.
It wasn't part of their plan, but it was something they could have incorporated
Okay.
moving
Yeah.
forward, right?
Yeah.
But Dracula Untold was officially the first one, and then the Mummy movie was the second one. And there are parts of Dracula Untold that I actually kind of liked, but it just had better competition, and they didn't do it as well. I did want to go back to this one comment that I showed up earlier, just real quick. Um,
Absolutely.
70s and 40s film are the greatest decades for cinema. 40s had so many great things going on there. I want to hold on to that. 70s, it had a lot of new ideas, maybe, but they didn't know how to tell a good story in a time frame. They wasted a lot of time. And by today's generation, there's no way it would pass, right? But I just think that a lot of 70s film people of today can't watch because it's so slow. Some of it's really good, but there was a lot of innovation that happened there. I just think that the 80s and 90s were just a culmination of everything that was happening in cinema for the last 80 years, 90 years that peaked kind of at that point.
Right. Um, yeah, it's, I guess with the 40s, look, when you look at 2 different eras, right, like, you can compare them in certain ways, but I think also the innovations in technology, how things are filmed, and what, you know, filmmakers and auteurs were bringing to the table in
Yeah.
different eras, right, were very crucial to furthering the industry and furthering that type of film, or movie. And then I think once we got to the summer blockbuster of Jaws, Star
Yep.
Wars, whatever,
Yep.
then that changes the ball game too. So there's a deep conversation with that as well when it comes to that. Real quick, 3 Star Draw has a question. Okay, never mind. You just answered it. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, no, I Nosferatu's coming out, and it's coming out in
Yep.
December, and I am looking forward to it. I've heard a lot of good things about it so far. I'm excited to see what direction they're going to go with it. Are they going to go
Okay.
more book Bram Stoker's, or are they remaking the original movie with updated everything? Because there was the original movie, and then there was the remake in the 70s, and then there's going to be this one, and they had to use different parts of Bram Stoker stuff because of rights issues and all kinds of weird stuff. But Nosferatu is one of the mezcos that I really wanted to get, and I hate that I missed it, and I don't know if I'm ever going to find one, but yeah, no,
Is
Nosferatu is definitely one that I'm looking forward
is
to.
that what it's like with that one? Is it one of those situations that, like, if you missed out, you're SOL? Is that kinda
It
deal with that?
depends.
Okay,
It
okay,
it depends. There's a lot of mezco. Most mezcos, if you don't order them when they go up, pre-order them, uh, you're not likely to get it for a decent price. At
okay.
least for several years. And if some of them don't sell and they sit around on shelves, they'll get
Right,
discounted or whatever. You can
right.
find them at toy shows if people have them for decent prices. But if you don't get in early on mezcos or on a wait list, then you will never see it. And if you are on a wait list, you may never see it. It may not
Okay.
convert that wait list.
So, So
What's up, MTP?
I
Mython
was
the
I
Python.
there we go. Mython. That's what I was just kind of scrolling down and wanted to kind of go through a little bit of the chat rather. Um,
He's been
and just
busy on YouTube lately, having some fun. It's
yeah,
good stuff.
right.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And real quick, just kind of scrolling down, want to just hit up a couple things here and make sure I didn't catch any of those, cross conversations, so to speak, that are in there. But let's see here. This is interesting. Clint says, Clint Jorgensen says, I'll tell you, Netflix is going to own WB within 2 years. Most people predict Amazon or Apple will buy them. That's interesting. It
Yeah, I know.
wouldn't surprise me.
Warner
Netflix
Brothers is
is the
in.
only streamer that's really growing and still really pulling in, money to me.
Yeah, and I will almost second that because Disney and Warner Brothers are so far in the hole right now with their movie making stuff that they're going to have to do something. And
Yeah.
the first thought process is that Warner and Disney will sell off their comic book division. So they will cut ties with DC and Marvel and let them go back to a separate ownership. And that may free the comics up to be better. I don't know. Depends on who picks them up. And that's the only way that they're going to create any revenue moving forward for a while, I
Yeah.
think, is if they do that. But if there is going to be a merger, I think it would be hard. But Netflix and Amazon are the two biggest, and they could be the ones that absorb them.
That
I
that
don't know.
that's true. I tell you, I think Paramount is the next one to
To fold,
yeah. And
yeah,
and,
yeah,
uh,
they,
and
they
and
they're the next closest, probably.
right. And there's something I wanna bring up and with, regards to them, but I did wanna bring up something that I know is probably near and dear to some of you guys' hearts. I know when I was growing up, I loved Voltron. Um, you know, had the lions. I
I had the Matchbox set. I still have it. It's big, heavy
hell
chunks of
yeah.
metal.
Right.
That
Yes.
that thing was awesome. The
Uh,
Matchbox Alliance,
absolutely. How toys used to come, right?
spring
And
loaded, poke your eye out stuff is great.
yeah, baby, I remember locking them in, like, putting them in, locking them in solid, man. So we've got some casting for Voltron, which I find exciting. Now, here's the scary part, Matthew, is that every time I see this person's name attached to casting, I worry that it's never gonna get made. I worry that if it
It's
is
never going to get
made,
made, yeah, or it's
it's
going to be made badly. Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like,
I think no. Now, hear me out on this. I think after The Witcher, I
yes.
think Cavill was so hurt by what happened with Superman and what happened with The Witcher
Mhm.
that he has extra clauses. So if you're going to hire me to do this, I have a say in how it's used. And if he doesn't have a say, he's not going to have anything to do with it. He got tied to Warhammer. Now, I think that Warhammer project may be dead because he was supposed to be in charge of it, but then all of a sudden things exploded and I don't know if that all fell apart or not. It's in limbo right now. So I'm worried about that because if they're still trying to move forward with Warhammer stuff without Henry Cavill, I have serious questions
Ah,
about it. That's like
yeah.
firing Tom Shippey from Rings of Power, and
Yes.
you know where that show is going to go after you fire the greatest Tolkien scholar that's lived beyond Christopher and his father.
But you know as well as I do at this point, man, like, y and this is something that, like, that I've brought up several times, but if you are a fan of something, a fan of an IP, that right now it just seems like companies make the wrong decisions. They make the wrong decisions. They go this way when you're just hoping and praying they go this way.
Yeah,
And they go so far this way or that way or whatever that it becomes unrecognizable.
yeah,
The script becomes something that no one wants to listen to on screen. and then who they hire is based off of another value system instead of the talent level. And so it's like every time something gets announced, I'm like, awesome, man. Yeah, I'd love to see
Mhm.
this guy play this in Warhammer. I'd love to see this guy play Superman again. I'd love to see the and it just seems like so many times you see these studios decide we're gonna zig when you thought we were gonna
Yeah.
zag, right?
Well, from insider information, what I've heard or whatever, Disney's got people that are waking up to this fact and they're like, okay, we need to make money. I don't know that Warner Brothers has that, but at the same time, you know, we had another comment up there about doesn't know if it would make a good live action.
I saw that actually,
Yeah,
yeah, that's Mendoza says,
Menjoza.
"Don't know if Voltron would translate well to
So
live action."
the question is,
And
have you
Cavil as well.
seen the Netflix series of Voltron?
I have.
So there were two of them. There's a CGI one that came out before that, and then there's the actual Netflix series that was done.
There was the most recent one 2021-ish, 2020
Ooh, that may have been the last
ish.
one that came out. Yeah. So
Okay.
the first couple seasons of that show was great, and it really kind of fell apart at the end, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I still liked the entirety of the story, but there were some things that happened in last season. I'm like, "Ugh," but whatever. I thought the entire idea was good, and that kind of storytelling can be done live action. I think you can do it. I mean, if you can do Pacific Rim and Robot Jocks, you can make a Voltron movie, right? I mean,
I guess we're talking about budget, right? Like, and if you're
yeah.
not gonna provide a large enough budget because something like this requires a pretty large budget because people want to see, right? They want to see Voltron assembled. I mean, that's just part of it. I don't think you can fake the funk with that, if that makes sense. Like, do it in such a way that you don't show what everybody wants to be shown. The money shots, right? Like they want the money shots with a show like that. I firmly believe that. I don't know how you hide that and maybe lessen the budget. So it's going to require a good amount of money to bring that CGI and
Mhm.
make it believable, right? I
Yep.
mean, does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to use a really good blend of practical and CGI effects. Todd
Yes.
C, he will be play Pidge and piss people off. No, I really do think that they would put him in
Come
as
on.
Keith.
You know,
Actually, Viper Scout said it earlier. Who would play Sven? I think that Henry Cavill would play Sven. In my view, as the older brother or mentor or leader of the team who gets killed and then brought back later, right?
yeah, I
Um,
can see that.
as a clone, as an infiltrator or whatever. The American storyline was different than the Japanese in that.
Yes,
In the Japanese one, he was a clone that was brought back to infiltrate. So,
right. Yeah, and actually, Viper Scott agrees with you too, says Netflix show was, actually, so good until the last season was weak.
yep.
Um, yeah, look, as much as I'd love to see it so here's the
Now,
thing,
now
Josh,
here's a
hang on.
well. Hold on. There's another question I have for you.
Okay.
Did you know that Toby Maguire was cast to be in a Robotech movie?
Yes,
And,
actually, I
and it
do
was,
know
I mean,
that.
it was almost 15 years ago now that he was cast to be in that movie, and Toby Maguire was tied in with the rights of live action Robotech since then. Well, and I think more recently it's changed hands again. But he was tied with that for so long and could never get it off the ground. So saying that Henry Cavill is cast in this role doesn't mean anything at this
That's
point.
true. Yes, and obviously, as we've seen too with, like, the Warhammer 40K, that's dragged on and dragged on. We don't even really know where it's at. I've read a story today said, "No, it's definitely happening." I read a story 3 weeks ago that said it's dead in the water. We won't know, and until they begin production, until they begin filming, they may not have a script that's ready.
Yeah.
And so really, who knows about this? I'll say, I would love to see it, and I just want people to know out there. Here's the deal, like you you may have watched a couple of my videos. You may see me on some live streams. Um, here's the deal. I want good entertainment. Okay. I don't want things to be terrible. I don't
Yep,
want Star Wars to be where it's at, in my opinion. I don't
yep,
want Marvel to be where it's at, in my opinion. I don't want shows and movies to be where they're at. I want good stuff. I am also nowhere anywhere close to near in the stratosphere of a YouTube channel that makes enough money that I can put out a video and make money off of shows that are bad, and I encourage them because they're bad, because I know I'm gonna make money off of it. I don't make any money off of this. So the fact is like, yes, I will talk about these things, but the reason I bring this up because I want there to be great entertainment. I want a Voltron series. I want a successful Voltron series. I want a
right.
successful Warhammer series, right? I
Yeah,
want
no
great
kidding.
Star Wars. Like, I do. We're not getting it. And so I don't want those things to be misconstrued, right? Like, I want good entertainment. I really do. And at the same token, I understand when people do like certain things that maybe I don't like or whatever. I fully understand that and am cognizant of that. But a lot of what we've gotten and a lot of false promises and a lot of deals that fall through and a lot of, hey, they're gonna be making this. And then 2 years later, you're like, yeah, were they ever gonna be making that? And so I want this to happen. Like I
Yeah,
really do. I would love it. I would love it to get a proper budget without spending too much money and have someone that is crafty enough to create and make a show like this um, with the proper budget and make it interesting. And we're
yep,
going to get to a show here very soon, which we have talked about time and time again, and we're going to talk about it again. That is doing things that are gaining an audience week after week. And if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. We're going to get to it here momentarily. There's only just another thing that I want to bring up, and it's the 6 degrees of Tobey Maguire. 6 degrees of Tobey Maguire. The reason I'm bringing it up is because there's been another cast member that's been added to the Voltron movie. Voltron movie cast Tom Holland's West End understudy, newcomer Daniel Quinn Toy in the lead role. Okay, so this is the lead role. Is this kid right here? Evidently.
so Pidge is
Uh,
gonna be the lead? Oh,
this I know, right? This story now this is from October 2nd. So when I looked up Voltron news, when I
mhm,
looked up stories, right, you'll get random stuff. But when I looked it up, it said up and coming actor Daniel Quintoy, his most
mhm,
recently was Tom Holland's West End understudy, and the understudy, obviously, that was for a play,
right.
has booked his first big screen role, the Amazon's MGM's live action Voltron movie based on the hit
So
anime.
so this goes further to my credence then, that Henry Cavill would play Sven
Right.
or the old man, one
And
of the
and
2.
that's why I wanted to bring it up. That's why I held it on the back burner and to share it because, yes, it is, right now there's no details, plot details are being kept under wraps. Um, this is again, for those of you who've been paying attention right now with whether it's television, whether it's shows, whether it's with music in particular is harkening back to the 80s. They're using 80s synth sounds and 80s sounds of recording and drums and stuff. And 80s is very popular right now. And it's very popular to reboot and redo 80s TV, comic, Red Sonja, you name it. These things are all, it is what it is. And the 80s are hot right now. And this fits into that bill. But this was another casting choice. And so, yeah, we'll see. We'll see who he's playing, but this very well could be your Pidge. You know, I don't know. We'll see. But
I mean, I understand Keith's supposed to be a young kid, right? So,
right.
I mean, it kinda makes sense, but boy,
By
that
the
is a
time
vapid
by
look
the
in
time
his
they
face, isn't it?
yes, dude. And God love the photographer, but uh yeah, this is one of those situations where by the time they begin filming, I mean, he may look totally different. I mean, truthfully. from this
Yeah. Oh,
photograph,
yeah, yeah,
and we
yeah.
don't even
By the
know. I don't
one
even know when this photograph was taken. Right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
by the time that they get to, principal filming stuff, so many things are gonna change, plus CGI and makeup and, we're talking I mean, this project is 3 years away at a minimum right
right.
now,
Are
right?
you talking
At a
about
minimum.
Ellen Page or Elliot Page,
No,
3
no,
star? I just wanted to bring sorry.
they're talking about Pidge
Oh, I mean
again.
Pidge. My bad. Sorry. Anyway, so, yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent of a young Ellen Page or a older Elliot Page, actually, this photograph, really, I'm not kidding. Holy moly. Let's get that off the screen. So,
Oh, yeah,
anyway,
thank you, thank you, thank you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So little Voltron news. I know you had mentioned that to me, and I was curious because I was, trying to kind of find out, and I'd heard a little bit of rumblings and stuff. And in the last couple of weeks, obviously that's been the case, and they're moving forward, right? If there's casting and they're trying to line these things up, which bring to me is curious because of the Warhammer, right? So when does
Yeah.
Henry fit this in? How does
Well,
this
so and then he's got
work?
Highlander on the back burner too,
Yes,
right? So
yes.
you can't forget that because he's got all these plates spinning and nothing's happening. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
And Clint, you may be right. They forgot to tell him they were snapping the pic, and he's like, wait, huh? Huh? Oh, wait, let me open my lips just enough. Oh, oh, oh."
I don't know. Maybe he's looking for the next Harvey Weinstein. I don't know.
Look, oh no, sorry. I'm so sorry. That was very loud for many of you in the microphone. I apologize for that. This is his mic picks up very well. Holy moly, that was fantastic. Okay, you got me with that one, buddy. Holy cow, that was great. Um, which that guy might get released at any
Uh,
day. That's what's
hey,
crazy.
Bill Cosby got out too because all the people detracted their statements.
Yeah, yeah, money'll do strange things. That picture was scary, Graph. Those eyes have seen the darkest places of Hollywood. You already know, folks.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
already know.
yeah.
Alright, so here's the deal, right? Um, trying to think. Matthew, you did mention we did lose somebody, uh, in the,
Yeah, 3 Star mentioned it too.
yeah,
I don't know much about this person, but Matt Hatter was talking about it. Ramen Toys was talking about it.
okay,
And uh, 3 Star mentioned his name. It was what he went by. Um, but yeah, there's a gentleman in the community who was a sculptor who was working on the flip ore um, project, and most of that sculpting was done, or all of it was done. I'm not sure. Yeah, yeah. Render FX. Yeah.
okay,
Thank you. And uh, he passed away um, recently, and it's kind of taken a lot of people back. And it's really kind of affected the people that knew him. He was an artist. He loved sculpting and uh, had his demons and things and stuff like that. So I don't know anything about anything except for
okay,
what Mad Hatter was talking about and some posts that were made. So he passed away recently, and so a lot of people are in mourning about that. But they also want to let people know that the Flipboard project is still moving forward, and there's no delays expected on anything because I believe his portion of the work had already been done, and they just want to honor him with that, with finishing that out.
okay. I know that you had mentioned that, to me earlier, and I'm not, and real quick, I'm gonna share this,
Yeah, yeah,
right
he
here.
he was a great sculptor.
Um, for those of you that maybe, do not know, and this is 13 weeks ago. This is just an Instagram post, right? But, yeah, this is I would say a render, but hell, actually, I don't know. But,
Yeah.
um, but look, man, like, you know, life is fleeting, man, right?
Yes.
And there's people that, you know, leave a mark. They do great work. Sometimes they're unheralded. Maybe, they're not as well known or whatever. But obviously, there's a lot of people who definitely know about this person's work.
Yep.
And I mean, it's a shame. I'm with you. I am not as, familiar. But right here, 3 star says, this is what Mega J showed us at Joe Fest. Okay. Now, okay, I'm with you. The prototype, yes. All right, I got you. That Mega J showed us at Joe Fest. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, and that's a shame, right? Somebody that's very talented. I mean, look, terrible you lose anybody, but somebody that's super talented and that is uh, getting known, and I don't know, like, the full scope of their work. I don't know, how many years. I don't know age-wise and stuff like that. I really don't, but you kinda mentioned a little earlier, and then I found a little bit, more background, but not a lot. So
Yeah.
if anybody in the chat you do know, feel free to put it in there by all means and provide some information, but evidently, this was a great loss for the sculpting community
Yeah.
in toys. So just kind of want to bring that up and see maybe you have and had not heard about that, or maybe you want to research and look into to their work. You know, information is always a good thing and might lead you to checking out some other projects. And obviously, this project continuing on. Um, so yeah, man, that's sad news, but at the very least, they're maybe obviously trying to
Yep.
fulfill
And
that
and
that
you know, just
that
to say
dream
to
or two too.
everybody, you know, reach out to your friends. If you're having problems, talk to somebody.
Yeah,
Find somebody to
absolutely.
talk to. If there's no reason to make it more torturous than it has to be. There's always a solution that doesn't necessarily doesn't involve anything else. Anything drastic. Life changes all the time. So
Yes, faster than you want it to. That's for sure. And then
yeah,
the older you get, you realize just how quickly that
yes,
goes.
fast, so fast.
Holy moly.
Uh,
Okay, so I'm not really gonna just to tell you guys, evidently, Paramount is giving their CEOs bonuses if they retire, even though they've laid off hundreds of people and are closing down different aspects of their studio. Evidently, they have decided that they want to give golden parachutes to their CEOs for a job well done. Uh, Paramount is one of these serious losers recently when it comes to streaming. They are a horrible service. I can't stand their service. But they
they've tried 3 times with their service, and they keep changing it, and
yeah,
each time it doesn't
yeah,
get any better. And there's some content on there that I love, but there's also a terrible interface and
it's
a lot of stuff that
horrible.
I don't care for. Yeah.
Every time I bring up the Paramount app on my phone, it only shows the mountains with the stars, and then it just gets stuck. I have to back out of it, bring it back up, and then it brings up the profiles. So you have to
Well,
literally exit out of the app, bring it back up to use it. It just gets stuck on the
at
image.
least now watch something that actually fills up your
Terrible.
television screen.
Yeah.
Because initially on the app, it had these black bars that went
Yes.
around the entire screen, and you
Yeah.
couldn't get anything to be full screen on their app initially. So, oh god, it was
Oh,
terrible.
in an SEC filing today, Paramount said that the 3 CEOs they have, and these 3 CEOs are of, um, CEO of CBS, CEO of Showtime and MTV Entertainment Studios, and Paramount Media Networks, Paramount Pictures and Nickelodeon, that they 3 would be entitled to resign for good reason, collecting corresponding severance payouts if their duties changed materially. It's a common contract with CEOs. It's called no matter what kind of job you do, Kathleen Kennedy, Star Wars. Um, you're probably gonna walk away with an amazing retirement package, because
Right.
you were a CEO of some kind.
Right.
The additions appear to be a push to retain the executives during a complex transition for media, including hundreds of layoffs at the company ahead of the sale to David Ellison's Skydance and recent public tiff between Redstone and CBS News. And, when you an annual cash bonus of $2.75 million for people who are terrible at their job. It's fascinating to me, the ability for Hollywood and the entertainment business to reward people for failing.
Hey, it's just like government.
Yeah, that's true too. Holy cow.
Fail upwards.
Get ready, folks. This next 30 days is gonna be a real doozy. Buckle up. Um,
Roller
so,
coaster
uh
time.
so look, before we get into it, to our last thing, and it's something we brought up, I wanna bring it up again. I'm passionate about it. I want you guys to be passionate about it if you have access to HBO/Max.
Oh,
But
yeah.
before we get
Yeah.
into it, why don't you read that one real quick,
Yeah, yeah.
Matthew, and then
Tubi
I'll
seems to
say
me to be Tubi seems to me to be a great, and I think, Turner bought it for nothing. And I will tell you that Tubi is a free streaming service, and I love it. We watch it all the time. We watch Doctor Who, we watch The Prisoner. I watch some old cartoons on there. They have amazing 1980s cartoon collections on there. They've
right.
got stuff that rotates through all the time. So what Tubi is doing, they're doing it well. They're probably the most profitable streaming service, because you can't really count Amazon, because most people don't even know that they have Amazon Prime, because they just wanted Prime shipping on their orders, and they don't know that they don't actually watch Prime. Max is doing better, but honestly, I think Tubi is probably the most profitable right now.
Yeah, no, I know so many people that use it. And real quick, I want to say hey to AV, uh, and the Detectorists plays on Tubi. I am not familiar. Should I be familiar with that show? Is it good? And if it's not, or if you don't know, you watch a couple episodes, I'll check it out. I'd love to check it
So
out.
yeah, like I said, we've been watching The Prisoner and old Doctor Who on there on a regular basis, and
Cool.
I mean they have all of the old Doctor Who's on there, and so
Okay, there
so
you go.
Disney's not making money off of it, but Tubi is,
Yeah, right.
and
Yeah,
that's
right.
funny.
No, no, no. It's actually I'm telling you, I talk to so many people who use it, and, yeah, it's free, and there's a ton of stuff on there, and as long as they keep it quality, as long as they don't try to, screw
Yeah,
over their consumer in any way, right?
yeah,
And you'll know it if you
like
see it.
constantly raising
You'll
their
know it.
rates. Disney Plus.
Everybody, it doesn't matter, right?
Well, yeah,
It's
but
it's
Disney Plus
all
is
of
is
them.
hit a massive price increase coming up here in just a
100%,
little bit. I
100%.
haven't seen if they have Red Dwarf. I love Red Dwarf. I
Uh
have watched every series of that, but that's one of my favorite British comedies.
And real quick, a cartoon series that I actually enjoyed, Viper Scout, was G.I. Joe Renegades. At a time when
Yep.
Transformers Prime was out, they used to come on back to back,
Yeah.
and
The Hub.
yeah, the hub, and I enjoyed it. I loved Renegades. I thought it was a good, fresh take. It was fun. Yes, it was a little different. Some people liked the animation, didn't like the animation, but I enjoyed it, and I actually liked it better
I
than
actually like
Transformers
the
Prime.
painting aspect.
Uh-huh.
The
Yeah.
painted aspect of their backgrounds.
Yeah, no, I really did. I enjoyed it, and wish they'd have done a season 2. It is what it is. So many cartoons today, whether it's a Spider-Man Unlimited or
You
whether
know,
it's whatever, they get canceled after 1
you,
season, the amount of
you
money
know
it
why it
takes,
was canceled, right?
it's time sensitive. Because of well, it could have been because of classifieds, because this was like two
Nope.
thousand and eight, 2009,
Yep.
10, somewhere in there.
Yeah, so it was canceled before the first episode ever aired, and they canceled it because they decided that GI Joe needed to have one cohesive universe, and the Stephen Summers universe was going to be the universe that they were trying to meld everything to. So everything had to
Right.
revolve around that. While Transformers had 3 different universes. They were going to come out with Rescue Bot soon, and they had Transformers Prime, and then they had the Michael Bay movies. And so Transformers could have multiple universes, and that wasn't confusing. But somebody told
Right.
the exec it would be confusing if G.I. Joe had too many universes. And I'm like, we've had multiple comic book continuities. We've got the action figures. We've had several different animated shows already at this point. Why can an
Right.
animated show that's going to generate business not be connected to the movies and still progress forward? And they tried to incorporate some of the toys in the current line. So they had a whole hub line of GI Joe figures at that time too, and so some of them were based off of the cartoon aspects of the characters, and some of them weren't, but they were different characters, like the Hazard Viper and stuff like that. And they had little hub
Yeah.
figures on them.
Okay. Okay.
But that's also the same time frame that the 30th anniversary stuff came out. So you had a Storm Shadow with swappable heads, and he was an amazing figure, but he had the Renegade swappable head on him, and so that was interesting. But it's all politics. It's all manipulation. It's all stupid people saying stupid stuff at the highest levels, like
I'm with you.
Lorenzo Di Bonaventura. You
You
know,
just took the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say he was probably the one that had those conversations. I'm like, he's probably the one that was like, "Yeah, no, there needs to be a cohesive universe. We can't have this." Right?
yep,
Like,
yep.
I almost literally brought that name up when you said it. That's so funny. I did see the Renegades figures at Joe Fest, and I was this close to getting it. He
They were
had
supposed
figures.
to come out with the Coyote vehicle, so they were supposed to make the
Oh,
vehicle
wow,
from
okay,
yes.
cool.
It,
Yeah,
it was it, it was halfway through the design process. So somebody had already pretty much designed it, but they hadn't actually produced anything for it
yeah,
yet. So
yeah.
so there's some designs out there for the Coyote that they were going to make.
Yeah, and Viper Scout, I'm with you. Look, season 2, I thought would have been fun. Obviously, Resolute, Retaliation, but Resolute,
I
um,
did a Resolute photograph in last Saturday. It was it had Doc, Duke, Scarlet, and Snake Eyes with the Resolute head on him uh, over a dead body of Bazooka,
that sounds fantastic.
and it had the Grim Reaper in the background.
Um, so, so, yeah, man, like, I look, I would have loved for more of it. I know it's an off comment from what we were talking about with Tubi and everything,
Yeah,
but yeah, that was definitely a time, and, as a I say a grown adult, whatever, not really, I'm an adult, I'm not grown. Um, I loved it. I loved that hour of
yeah.
back-to-back Transformers and G.I. Joe in my 30s and like, "Oh, this is
Yeah, it
great,"
was great programming.
yeah,
I
that's good.
and the hub wasn't maybe not the best idea for them, but the shows that they were producing weren't bad. They
No.
had good stuff on
No,
there.
I'm with you. I did. I thought, and I actually preferred the animation of the, Joe cartoon over the Transformers Prime, personally. I thought the Transformers Prime cartoon was very dark. It was hard to see things. It was, yeah, maybe it was my TV, could be wrong,
It's
but
probably your TV.
I
Don't you remember
uh
Miguel Sapochnik telling everybody they had the wrong television?
Oh, in Game of Thrones, 'cause
Yes.
they couldn't see the battle at the night. Yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
yeah,
You have bad TVs. Everybody needs to buy new TVs to see my
well, look,
production.
I'll tell you, Matthew, you don't need to buy a new TV to watch this show. You
Nope.
don't. You can watch it on your phone. You can watch it while you're in the shower like I've done. Take it whatever you want with that comment. Run with it. I don't care. Here's the
I
bottom
tend to
line.
watch it on my tablet because I have to watch it away from everybody else, so my daughter doesn't see it. But it is a good show.
Understood. Look, ladies and gentlemen, here's the deal, and I'll say it again. It's one of the best shows on television. It has wicked good writing. It has great acting. It has amazing characters. There is no reason, if you are into comics, Batman, if you're into the same shit we're in right here, if you're into this stuff, if you have access to watch The Penguin, you have to watch this show. It is fucking amazing, dude. I after the most recent episode, episode 4, um, we get backstory on, Sophia Falcone. Um, she goes to Arkham. I'm not gonna go through the whole episode for you. She goes to Arkham. It is a wonderful look at Arkham. It's a good look at what happened to her character over the course of time, why she is how where she's at. Um, dude, like this episode
Intense.
barely has Penguin in it,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's that
intense.
good.
It's
Yes,
so
it's in oh, dude, I was on the edge of my freaking
yep,
toes, man. Like,
yep,
it is that good. And the reason I keep bringing it up, man, is because I want people to experience this show.
yep.
For all the other stuff we've gotten, I really want people to experience this show because it through 4 episodes, and I hope it sticks the landing. Uh, it's fantastic, man, and I'll let you go on about it. It's just it's so freaking good, and I wanna get into this article here in a moment.
Yeah, no, I mean, and the viewership, as we'll see, it has been growing on this show, and each episode has been getting better and better. And while this one didn't have that cool transition effect with the title into something cool, you know,
Right, right,
it's not it doesn't have to be a constant thing, but it's nice when it shows up. But it's the show is invested in its characters, it's invested in its actors, it's invested in the writing. So each episode is a character portrait, right? You've got Victor, and you had his character portrait. You've got Sophia, and you're getting her character portrait, right? And so you're seeing who these people are in this world, and it's doing such a wonderful job of developing it. If they finish this and round it out and cut it off, it could be one of the best single
1
series or mini
season.
series of television that's been on since Firefly or something like that.
Right.
People may want more. There may not be a whole lot more to tell, depending on
Yeah,
how they do it. And
yeah.
if they want to incorporate it into a future movie and bring the character back or whatever, that would be a good vignette. But as a standalone show, this show's great. There's one thing that I would like to see a hint of that I haven't, and I'm a little disappointed in, but they have been focused on this whole family Falcone, the mob war aspect of it. They should be afraid of the Batman. They should be at least talking about the
Right,
Batman. He's not
right,
going to be in it. That's fine. Don't have him
right.
in it, but he still needs to be a presence, and he's not. Gotham's a presence. The mob influence is a presence, right? So you have a lot of the elements of it, but you don't have Batman being a presence in this, and you don't have to show him, but you should mention him.
I think that, so look, the police are not a presence in this show.
Right,
Are they utilized? Yes, they are to good effect, as we see in this episode in
yeah,
particular. Um But they're also not a presence. Batman is not a presence, Alfred is not a presence, right? So if you wanna go into the show and you want all those other pieces of the puzzle of the Batman universe, you're not gonna get them. This is a very focused story, and that's what I appreciate about it, because it's not trying to do a bunch of different stuff. It's not trying to introduce too many characters and
right,
give them too many different stories when you only have 8 episodes to work with.
right.
It is focused. It is written extremely well. The dialogue, I think, is not only funny, it's exciting, it's terrible, as in, like, terrible people making just awful decisions, but not awful. I mean, these are terrible decisions, but some of them have to be made for the
Yeah.
sake of survival.
Yep.
The young kid Victor, who is kind of Penguin's henchman that gets brought in through other circumstances. Uh, it's like they have developed this kid in a few episodes, 3 episodes. They developed him, and you get a feel for who this kid is and what he's about. They did a better job of depicting the blowing up of the seawalls and the
Mhm.
flooding of Gotham than
Yep.
the movie did, in my opinion. And
Absolutely.
um, and really look, uh, Colin Farrell as Penguin, yes, you're going to read article after article. You're going to see YouTuber after YouTube maybe talk about him. But so far, man, like the lady who plays Sophia Falcone is so good
Yep.
and convincing and funny and it's Italian and it's got flavor, but it's not overdone and it's not fake, it's not falsified, right? Like
Right.
it's believable. And and
Yeah.
there's
I
a
mean, there's no telling you how you have to feel. There's no
oh,
telling you how you should respond to these things. It is just there. It's visceral. It's raw. It's in your face, but it's just the storytelling. It's these things happen to this character. They are showing you as a visual medium should, so this show depends on you not being distracted by your phone. You cannot watch this and multitask, right?
yeah,
You
man.
have to pay attention. And
Yeah.
and some people, that's not their thing. I get it. But at the same time, it's well worth it because the most rewarding things are engaging on that level. And
It's
this is
worth your
very
time.
much so far been very rewarding.
Yep.
And I will put that with trepidation because we all know that you can fuck up the
Health
landing pretty bad.
healthy skepticism,
Yeah.
right? Healthy skepticism,
Yep.
which I will always maintain is a good thing. Healthy skepticism, just based off of track records we've
Yes.
seen in the last few years.
And I
But
encourage you, don't watch the after show.
no, 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 no. Yes, and that's something I mentioned. Yeah, no, don't. They do vignettes after each episode, the making of. Just don't even. Once the episode ends, just end it. Just
Yep.
end it. Yeah, that it's just I promise you, don't even bother. Just end the episode, go to the next one. Don't watch the making of, as HBO likes to do because of reasons. And they've done it with House
Yep.
of the Dragon, they've done it with
Yep.
other things. Just watch the episode. As soon as it ends, skip to the next one, go right to it. I promise you, you're going to love this show. And this brings me to this Deadline article. The Penguin musters series high audience with episode 4, tallying 1.7 million US viewers. Now, back in the good old days of Family Ties and The Cosby Show or MASH and Archie Bunker and whatever, that's a very paltry number. Shows were
Right.
getting canceled over 1.7 million viewers.
Oh,
Shows would not
1.7. That show was pulled the next day.
Yes, you would not survive on 1.7 million viewers on network television. But these
No.
days with streaming, this is evidently this is a good enough number. And when you understand the complexities of streaming and all of that, and everything that goes into it and trying to get numbers out of that, there's so many different ways companies use to say, well, we had 4 billion watch minutes and where we had, and it gets really convoluted. But what the metrics they're using here, just going by these metrics, Penguin is halfway over and audience interest is still growing, which is rare these days to continue to
Mhm.
grow episode over episode. Fourth episode drew in 1.7 million viewers, which is a season high premiere night audience. So,
Mhm.
appointment television,
Yep.
appointment television, that's crucial.
Yep.
People are tuning in on the night it comes on, at the time it comes on.
Yep.
That's
This
important because it doesn't happen these days very
yeah.
much.
This show is going to be the prime example for why the binge model fails.
Right, right.
Because I mean, we've said it, I've said it forever, you said it, everybody said many people said it for a long time. If you look at One Piece, if One Piece was released weekly, we would have talked about that show for 3 months, right? And Pop and I have been talking about this show for 4 weeks now. Okay. And
4
we're
weeks. Yeah,
4 weeks, right? If you binge a show, you get 2 weeks of discussion and then that's it. Nobody
yep,
cares after that.
yeah.
And we've been talking about this show for 4 weeks, and the viewer numbers have been increasing. It's not just us. Obviously, we don't have the viewership to adjust the numbers that way,
You're
but
right.
everybody is talking about this show every week. And they're saying it's great. It's amazing. You need to watch it. Don't know where it's going. Don't know how it's going to end. But so far, it's really amazing. Go watch it. And so everybody's looking in on it and they're looking at it. And as long as they keep this quality and this pacing, this show will be incredibly successful.
Yeah, the pacing is great, as well. It's shot wonderfully. It's not too dark, right?
Nope.
It's dark enough for Gotham, but you have wonderfully lit, uh, it houses, mansions, right, for your crime family, and then you have dingy apartment, right, one-bedroom apartment for Penguin, but it's still decked out, right, because 'cause he's got a little bit of cash, right, he's got a little bit of money,
Yeah, but
uh
Sophia says it was gaudy.
yeah, 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 and so yeah, man, no, and so that's why I keep bringing it up week after week because it
Yep,
deserves the attention.
I
4th
think so.
episode drew 1.7, 2nd episode was 1.6, which already marked a 17 percent increase over the series premiere.
There you go.
So yeah, it's tallied more than 13 million viewers. And again, this is it's big in streaming because of the way it's so disposable now. That's the
Yep,
thing, right? And the binge model's so disposable now.
yep.
When it debuted last month, it also had Max's biggest 4-day audience for a new series in every region globally since Last of Us in January 2023, which is also a very good show. There are elements of that show I'm not a fan of, but I did think they did a pretty good job with The Last of Us. I still love the video game better, but it was a good show.
Mhm.
Whatever your thoughts on Pedro Pascal and what's the girl that looks like dude from Mask, the movie back in the '80s? What's her name? Bella Ramsey. Bella Ramsey. Yeah, she looked like dude
Oh,
from
that's
The
harsh.
Mask. Hey
Oh,
man,
that's harsh.
I got strong opinions. Oh, just messing with you.
I always
But
thought he looked like Carrot Top, so, you know,
yes, right. So that's the
especially Carrot Top now.
would it be 6 degrees of separation from Karen or Mask Dude? Anyway,
Uh,
oh, alright. So, nonetheless, yeah, man, in the US series debut, averaged 5.3 million, golly, it's you can't read a digital article from any site, any newspaper, any video game, anything now without spelling errors or punctuation errors. In the US, the series debut of the HBO original averaged 5.3 million okay, so they did get me cross-platform. So I almost called them out for something, but they got me. Cross-platform viewers. Yeah, no, look, man, the show's great. They've done a great job. Colin Farrell may very well take home some awards for this. This is being done without the James Gunn oversight. This is being done without that whole thing, okay? Um, and I appreciate it for it, and I'm glad that this show exists, and again, I recommend you guys check it out. It is really, really good. It is worth your time, to put into it, and we have 4 more episodes, I believe, right?
yep.
To resolve this story. I do wanna bring up a starred comment.
Yeah, yeah,
And I wanna know why, because I am curious. I do
yeah.
wanna know why. And, 3-star draw says, "This episode wasn't nearly as good as I thought it was gonna be." And I am curious as to your thoughts on that because I do wanna know. I did personally think it was a very good episode, her time in Arkham.
Mhm.
Were there some of that rogues gallery? There's one that we are very familiar with. There are some names that are thrown out there, but
Yeah, and so that kinda,
it's not a
that
Batman. I don't
yeah,
know. I don't know how to go
eh,
about it.
yeah, I mean, there's one name that's thrown about there that, I mean, what they did with the character was interesting, and unfortunately, that means that that's that, right? I mean, that character arc is that character's arc now. And you can't change that, if they decide to, move forward with another movie with them in it or whatever.
Yeah, and real quick to follow up on that, and I'm glad that he jumps in here. He says, "I didn't think it was paced very well. And my gripe from last week that I never addressed was that we should have gotten her backstory episode before now." Um, I can see that, but I kind of in a way, I think because Penguin it is a show called The Penguin,
Yeah.
and then you have the Victor character, and I felt like, you know, had they given us her backstory before now, I don't know, this is just my opinion. I don't know if the information we received that trickled in episode to episode previously would hit as hard now that you know. I think they needed a couple to 3 episodes to draw the audience in without spreading their attention too
Yeah.
thin,
Yeah.
and give us Victor, his history, which I thought was a great episode last week,
Yeah.
and really give us 2 to 3 solid episodes on showing how slimeball the Penguin is and his motives and what he does. It's
Well,
just
and
me.
no, I know, and I totally agree with you. I think that the pacing and the episode orders are very precise in what they're trying to do, and telling Victor's story last time was pertinent to where that story had unfolded at that point. And then you
Right,
come in right at the ending, where when you have that ending of that episode and what
the
happens
crash,
there.
right.
Yeah, and then you unfold that, you unpack that, and you see it from a different angle. You see it from a different perspective. Has that happened? And then the fallout from that. What's happening? And we don't get all of it until the last part of this episode. But you get the other portion of it. You get the backstory that
Right.
filled her life in up to that moment, and then we move forward from that moment. And again, I thought that worked really well in terms of the order of the storytelling that they're going in because of the way the story's unfolded.
Yeah, and I see what he's saying here about benefiting, by seeing, how the relationship has changed so much, and we can see more of that dynamic later, but I think because of the way this show is paced and written, that over the course of these 4 episodes, we will get to really see that, right? Like,
Yeah.
we almost in a way need to show these characters as 2 people on opposite worlds,
Yep.
and they slowly kind of mingle a little, they touch toes, whatever you wanna call it, I don't care. And then eventually, as a little bit of time goes, then you start to mesh them together and you're like, "But these people really know each other better than we even realize they do."
Yep.
And then that culminates right into last week at the end of the episode where her fears are very well addressed at that
Yeah.
point with the Maronis coming in. And I think in this next episode, we're going to see what she wants to do with Penguin, moving forward now that she has this information
I
in her
you know, I mean,
view.
just a prediction here. I My prediction is that the next episode is going to be more about Penguin's relationship with the Maronis, because
Yeah,
now
that would
now
be a good
now
place to go.
now we have to tell that part of the story before we
Right,
can move forward,
right.
because we have to know his interactions with them while he was with Falcone's, going back and forth
Years
between the
past,
two
right?
factions.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so we've gotten this perspective from Sophia about how she viewed the Penguin, right? And
Right.
how she protected him but abused him and told him to shut up, and then later on said, "Why didn't you come talk to me?" It's like he could have said, "Because you told me to shut up." you know
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. Right, right.
and so you have their relationship and how it's grown and changed, and you see how it's been twisting Oz this whole time into becoming who he is, because he's a survivor. I mean, that's the ultimate
Right.
point of the story, is that Oz is a survivor. He's going to do whatever's
Whatever it
necessary,
takes. Yeah.
whatever it takes to
Yeah.
survive. And that's why he's been playing both sides, because he's been confronted with death and he's avoided it
Right,
by placating, by manipulating, by all this other stuff that has made him survive, also
yeah.
made him infamous in everybody else's mind. And then when those opinions get solidified, everybody's opinions are being solidified now about everyone else is. So I think that the next story will be about his relationship with the
At
Maronis.
the Maronis, yeah, and look, over the next few episodes, hopefully, we'll see even more of that dynamic played out between the 2 of them and how they're
Yep.
because we will.
Oh yeah.
We'll get flashbacks, we'll get flashbacks of him and his interactions with Carmine Falcone. We're gonna get
Yes.
flashbacks of her and him as we already got, as him as her driver and what happened
Yep.
and the fact that he told on her, you know, with her father and these kind of things of that culmination,
I thought
and
Mark
so
Strong was great in this
he
too.
yeah, no, he was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, very, very, very good, and then the ending
I
was
mean,
was perfect.
the subtleties of his performance when they're having dinner together and that
The
whole thing
son and
starts
the
unfolding.
daughter. And then even
Yeah.
at the birthday party,
Yes.
even in the scenes with the mother and talking
Yes.
about and the doubt, and so yeah, man, like, yeah, that's all I can say is, like, check it out and on your own
Yep.
and see what you think. I do think it's fantastic. I know you do as well,
Yeah.
and so I encourage anybody, check out the show and let us know, like, let us know what you think about it, you know what I mean? Like, next time
Absolutely.
we get together, and say, "Hey, yeah, I watched all 4," or whatever. I know a few people already have, and so yeah, but I definitely wanna know what people think about it, and I love every opinion on it, right? So that way you kinda let that stuff sink in and talk about it.
Yeah.
So, uh so real quick, yeah, Clint Jorgensen says they haven't watched episode 4, but will probably tomorrow. I think you're gonna enjoy it. I really do.
Yeah, I think so.
Mendoza says Penguin ends up being a Batman informant. Well, that's a bummer. I don't think that's gonna happen with this guy, but at the same token, it wouldn't surprise me in some way where he's at because he plays every angle. He is the ultimate every angle person. And then War Chest said that think I'm Mussolini, but I don't know. Was it the hand gestures? I'm not sure. And Clint
It's the
also
hat.
says that Pedro and Scarlett are both at burnout phase. It may very well be the hat. That's a Cuban thing. I don't know if it's Italian, but maybe it is. I guess so. But anyway, so yeah, man. Look, that's all I got for you tonight, baby. How about that? That's all I got for you, Matthew. As far as you're concerned, I don't know if there's anything else that you want to bring up, but we are about 20 minutes overdue,
Yep. No,
and
no, we're good.
you have work to do tomorrow. I do not have work to do tomorrow, but I do want to let everybody know what you have going on, obviously. And let's
You
see, and
know,
hopefully I didn't take off our, names, did I, by accident? I don't think I did.
no, just take off the banner and it'll show it.
Oh, you know what? That's me. Oh, by the way, today, uh, StreamYard was acting really weird. I watched 3 different streams today that had a lot of issues with their internet connection, and these are people who make good money on YouTube and do not have issues
Well,
with
okay,
their
but some of those are dealing with Florida Starlinks and things like that.
Some,
So,
but even the ones like, the Real BBC Today had some issues, and they are not
mm,
dealing with those
yeah,
issues,
yeah,
so
no, that's true.
but yeah, man, and real
Get ready
quick,
for a crazy November. I'm just saying.
yeah, so let's go ahead and bring this up, obviously, that's gonna be coming up. I'll let you give
Yep.
the
Yeah,
details
yeah,
on
yeah.
that
I was just gonna
while
talk about
I
that.
please do.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, I've got my my daily releases of photographs on Instagram. But yeah, we've got on October 25th, 6th, and maybe partially into 27th. We've got a 36-hour Toys for Tot stream going on a Punk with Toys' channel, and we're going to break it up into some segments so that we can keep it up. But for the most part, we're going to be streaming 36 hours straight. And that's going to include a lot of special guests. So we're going to have people on from Australia, like Frostbite and Ronnie
Yep.
Trickshot and Shark Eyes. And, 3 Star is going to come on there and do
Yeah.
Oz has got a segment. Punk and I have got a segment. So maybe Travis and Ed will have a segment. But there's going to be a lot of segments on there that people are just kind of going about their show. They're doing their show on Punk's channel to try and help out Toys for Tots.
Yeah, it's great.
And I encourage you guys. There's a lot of charities out there right now. There's some specific down for Florida. and the stuff that's going on there. But I implore you guys, Toys for Tots is a great charity. However you want to support it,
Absolutely.
because it really does help out a lot of kids across the whole country. So please go out there and support them. Support us on the stream, watching us, giving us a shout out. All donations and all proceeds will go towards Toys for Tots. And it will be labeled a charity stream on YouTube. So they won't take a cut of that because that money will be going towards the charities. So,
Yeah, man. No, obviously, in any time anybody does this, and any live stream, and whether that's for any, when 100% of the proceeds, obviously, right? So, yeah, no matter the size of the channel, it's always good to see people do this, and especially coming up in the back end of the year, and for Christmas and for holidays and stuff like that, in particular. I'm sure we've all known people, and whether that's through our jobs, whether that's through our families, maybe personally, that don't have the opportunity to provide for their kids, or their kids, it's not
yeah.
the kids' fault, right?
Yeah.
So it's always awesome to see, and so this is a great thing. You got a lot of great people coming on to to help out and provide some entertainment. So yeah, man, it's four different parts, kind of breaking it up right into four parts, so to speak. Live streaming for long periods of time, there's kind of, you get to a certain period where, like, you kind of got to kind of cut it and restart it in a way, or things can get kind of wacky with YouTube and stuff like that. But real quick, 3-star draw says Tulsa King is off until December now, doing the dreaded split the season in two crap. Yeah,
I don't know. Episode 4 and 5 are still scheduled. I can't see when the fifth one is coming out. Without my
might be
glasses.
that, might be that
No,
whole
no.
deal.
Yeah, so 1013 is still episode 5 is still listed on there. So episode 4 and 5 are up. I don't know about the next one. I haven't seen that. If they're doing that, I'm not a big fan of that. But that being said, Cobra Kai should be coming back soon for its next part.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And real quick, breaking news: War Chest
Yes.
is doing a segment on spray tanning for men and other means health issues, not just men. He's doing means health issues, ladies and gentlemen. And you can find him on that stream. No, you won't
No,
find
you
it.
don't. No, I don't think so.
You won't find that segment. Although it doesn't mean he won't do a segment.
Yep.
He might do his own segment. Like, you may find that. Real quick, Lunchboxzilla 805. What's up, Big Papa? Thank you for sliding in here right at the back end of the stream, my friend. Yeah, so guys, obviously, 25th through 27th, there's gonna be so many people watching, and hopefully donating and bringing some cheers from kids. So that's awesome. Obviously, and we'll promote that again next week and keep on rolling with it. So Matthew, what do you got going on before I let everybody know what I got going on?
Yeah, no, that's
Doing,
it. I've got my photos coming out every week, every day. Sorry,
yeah, every
and
day.
bunch of collabs, bunch of stuff like that. Just reading my comic books, playing with my toys, working my butt off, trying to make things all work out, and having a good time. So
Yeah, man.
that's it for me.
Yeah, baby. Obviously check him out on Instagram. You guys know it. If you don't, Mammy's Action Figure Blog on Instagram. Yeah, great pictures. Always, every freaking day. So I will be on Sevens Wild tomorrow night on 3-Star Draws channel. That will be at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. We are going to go over some of the G.I. Joe cartoons, a couple episodes each. Maybe 3, but probably, maybe just a couple. Keep it easy, keep it simple, but ones that are kind of horror themed, so to speak. And there were many, there were several in the cartoons actually that
Yes.
dealt with nightmares and Destro's
Yeah.
family and like Cobra Lot, whatever, right? And so that should be pretty fun. And look, I'm
I
not
did
gonna
a
lie
whole
to you.
photo shoot last Halloween based off of that low light nightmare. sequence.
Dude, yeah, right, exactly. That's one I always remember that one, for sure, but then there are other horror ones like the Synthoid Conspiracy to
Oh,
me
that
are
one
like,
that one that one is probably the
holy
most
crap,
disturbing.
dude,
That
yes,
was
and I
probably the
mean
most disturbing one.
yes,
And then
yes,
you've got the ghost from the past
Ghost from
episode with the
yes.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so so that'll be fun, to bring couple of those episodes, revisit them, man, and a little scene, scene to scene, maybe a little bit, just kinda go over it. And so we'll be doing that tomorrow night. Obviously, some toy news in there as well. There's a couple other things we're gonna bring up. And so, yeah, like I said, that's, at, 9 Eastern, 8 Central on 3 Star Draws channel. 7's Wild. We'll be on there doing that, for Halloween themed, and then another Halloween themed episode the night before Halloween, 2 weeks after that. So that'd be fun. And so that's pretty much all I got. Look, I ain't gonna lie to you folks. Agatha all along, that show's crap. Um, I watched one of my
It's not
favorite
worth your
streamers.
time.
I watched one of my favorite streamers talk about how awful it was for him to try to record his video to review the most
You know,
recent episode, and
if you
he
really
it was
wanna watch
very difficult.
yeah, if you really wanna watch somebody who's gonna get very passionate about it and give you a 30 to 45-minute video, Disparu makes some amazing videos,
There you
and
go.
if you watch his on Agatha, that's all you need to
Yeah.
know is whiny cat women being evil. I mean,
It's
they are
wine it's
straight up
wine
evil.
wine ants drinking wine and being shitty people, and then getting rewarded for I don't know. It's not a good show, and,
No,
it's so look, it's difficult sometimes, man, like, to just think about what do I want to say about this show, and then it's like, I don't have
nothing.
anything to say
I
about it,
got
it's
nothing.
terrible, and so
Apathy is the
trying to
best killer of
yeah.
franchises, right?
It sure is, and obviously we've seen it with several that we love, but anyway, so yeah, man, look, hey, that's all we got. That's all I got, man. It's always fun. It wouldn't be as fun, obviously, without the chat. Thank you guys so much. And like, subscribe if you can, if you take the time and you like coming to hang out with us, man. It's always a pleasure. And so we'll be back again next Tuesday night. And try to bring a few new stories and maybe a new show or movie or two. We'll see if anything's out about. Until then, I'll roll us out with an old fun intro. How about that as an outro this time? Y'all have a good night, man. Thank you. See you next Tuesday.